20 seasons later, they will be the newest engraving on this magnificent trophy. The drive for 5 has ended, and the Cardiff Devils are top of the pile. And tonight, they have their coronation as champions of British ice hockey. Gareth Hewish alongside John Donovan and Aled Lloyd. And gentlemen, we've been on this journey from the very beginning, what seems like an eternity ago, middle of August, when Medvedev Zagreb came into this building. It was said that the preparation, starting that early, would pay dividends. It has. It's been a long wait, but boy, oh boy, you guys were there yesterday in Sheffield. John, I'll come to you first. How did that feel?
Momentous. Hard to put into words. A long wait. You referenced at the start there that the Devils were the first name engraved on that trophy. It's been 20 long seasons since they will go back on that trophy. I hope people won't mind me saying I hope it's not another 20 years until they go back on. But for Aled and myself, absolute privilege to be there. Obviously, you were there in spirit, Gareth. But starting from the very outset, when Aled and myself went down to the pre-game interview with Andrew Lord, there was a calmness, there was an intensity, there was a real feeling that the Devils weren't going to wait till tonight. They were going to try and finish it in Sheffield Arena, and they did. And they came out from the first shift, and that started with the player coach setting the intensity. And my word, when that final buzzer went, that was 20 years of hurt just being released, and it's a memory that will live long in the lifetime.
Al, your thoughts from yesterday? Is it still a blur for you? Is it? How are you feeling today?
Well, I feel good. I don't drink, Gaz, as you know, so I feel great. 4 hours sleep, the adrenaline's keeping me going. No, it was. John's absolutely right. It just felt like there was such a calmness about the Devils team when we were down there in the pre-game interviews. We were, of course, there the week before for the loss against Sheffield, and there was a different feeling about it. And I think that goal on the first shift that the Devils scored through Mark Richardson, the captain, of course, in Jake Morissette's absence, it just sort of settled everything, and it almost didn't come as a surprise, actually, how clinically the Devils played. And they won emphatically as well. They went up to Sheffield, where they've got an incredible record this season. You might argue it's their record against the Steelers, perhaps their closest rival. Obviously Belfast there as well, that has seen them over the line, certainly by this point in the season. And they went up there and they showed that, yes, they played with the belief that they are the best team. They played with a way, they played like champions before they were indeed crowned champions last night. And it was just superb to watch. From our point of view, it's always interesting, and I'll never forget, and I heard some of the playback today. We're always slightly more detached from things. Obviously, we were calling the game last night and commentating on it, and you're slightly more detached, especially up in Sheffield. There, we were sort of a long way away from the ice, but we finished the game, and I was doing a wrap up, and John then did his wrap up, and as soon as he finished, there was a big cry. It was like a war cry almost. Sort of 20 years of pain from this man on the left just came out of him with this cry. And you could hear it almost over me talking directly into a microphone. And it was just fantastic. But it was just sort of everything that, everybody has been through here the last 20 years, all of the pain, especially in the last 10 years, the difficulties. The club may not have existed quite possibly at a number of points. To have got to that point, the resurrection of the club under King, Kelman, the other owners, and Andrew Lord was kind of reaffirmed with that moment.
And I think that's an excellent point that Al brings up there, John. Just it's easy to forget with how good the last 3 years have been, just how barren those other 17 were. There were a couple of fleeting moments after that last Super League win in 96-97, but there is some serious close shaves to this Devils team not existing. So for yesterday, for people who have been around the club for a long time, such as the three of us, such as long-time fans, John Wild I think probably still hasn't slept since last night. But the people who do remember those times, it's just that much more sweeter, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's. I was spoiled as a child that the Devils won the league almost every year.
It's about the Devils, John. It's not therapy.
I've got to mention something here, because John has not said to me before, at least before he starts this story. I didn't realise that John and his family are. Do you want to say? John and his family are the first ever Cardiff Devils season ticket holders.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes, my My dad didn't like queuing, so he berated John Lawless to get season tickets, and that's how season tickets started. And we were spoilt. We won the league title every year, and I will use "we" tonight, and I hope the Fife Flyers fans don't mind that, because I'm sure they can appreciate it is a night of celebration. And we thought the league championship happened every year, and we won that Super League title. And I must admit, I enjoyed it, but I thought, well, we'll either win it next year or the year after. And those 20 years, to call them a roller coaster would be an understatement. We won the playoffs in '99, but then there were the financial troubles, the dropping out of Super League going bust, rebuilding in the BNL. Of course, then losing our home and going to the Big Blue Tent. And you have to remember people like Gerard Adams and Brad Voth, who also helped keep that club going when it really looked like we had a bleak future, and they still kept the name of Cardiff Devils alive in British ice hockey. So a thought for them. Obviously, Neil Francis, the stalwart of the Cardiff Devils organisation, who did so much to bring Todd Kellman and the new owners to Cardiff. So yeah, it's been a very, very bumpy ride, but the last 3 years have just been a dream building to this, culminating in this, and you really can't thank Steve King, Todd Kellman, Andrew Lord, Craig Schustak, Kelly Hughes, and Brian Parker enough. They've brought the dream back to Cardiff, and we'll be eternally grateful.
Amazingly, Andrew Lord becomes only the third coach, I believe, to win a league title. It's this Lawless, Heavey, and Andrew Lord. When you think of a club that's been 30 years to only have 3 coaches on that league title, that's a real achievement for Andrew Lord. And I guess we should talk about Lord more than anyone else. It's not just about coaching your team on the ice. This is someone who's actually embraced wanting to rebuild the club as a whole, not just a team. And that's paid as big a dividends, Al, would you agree, than just trying to build a team year on year?
I think absolutely. Having a coach that's invested in the club, we described him last night as embodying the spirit of the club on commentary, and I think that perhaps is certainly defines Lord's tenure here so far, and certainly everyone here would hope that continues for a long time to come, certainly as long as Todd Kellman is here. He said that he wants Andrew Lord to be here. And he does it both as a player and as a coach, and we must remember that as well, what he's achieved in both those fields. He's still a top 6 forward in the league. He went back on the big line last night. It was the right call as well. He led from the front, but also the coaching acumen we've seen from him that's developed over the 3 seasons in such a short time, where he was thrust into a situation having to recruit a team in just a few weeks in his first season to where he is now, a league championship winning coach, a couple of cups as well, Challenge Cups, which is the second hardest championship to win. Well, if you exclude the conference thing, but out of the main 3 perhaps anyway, the second hardest championship to win. It's an incredible record, really, John.
Absolutely, and it's just we're fortunate enough to be around the club enough that we see his attention to detail. We even doing the midweek interviews, we laugh and joke with some of the players, but Andrew Lord is all business. We know the work, and of course Jamie Elson works with him a lot of the video analysis, and they were even doing work on the bus home last night for this game, and well, the rest of the team might have been celebrating a little bit in the back. So I'm with Al. He's still a top 6 forward, and he made that bold call last night to go back on the top line. In the interview I did with him after the game, he said he wanted more size across all the lines, and so Carney dropped down to the 3rd line and had a great game on that line. But Lord, from the first shift, he harried, he was on the forecheck. It was a great sort of lead pass to Joey Martin or to set up Mark Richardson, who was coming in onto the off wing, and right from the start he just pulled the team along with him, which he's done for 3 years, and how fortunate we are to have him in Cardiff.
Absolutely, and I'll pick up a point that you made there about Lord recruiting that team within 6 weeks. Isn't it remarkable how many of those players that he recruited are still here to lift this trophy today? A testament to just how well he did in those 6 weeks, isn't it? And what an excellent opportunity for these guys who have been here for so long, especially Mark Richardson, who must have thought it was never going to happen, for them to enjoy this day.
Yeah, I think it's so important in this league, especially for coaches to find players that not only play great hockey, but also fit within the ethos of the club, the ethos of which that coach is trying to build, and a good people as well around to have. And I think Andrew Lord has clearly done that. They've never sacked a player mid-season here. The only players that have ever left the club under Andrew Lord has been at the end of a season when you would expect changes to be made from season to season. And the number of players, as you say, that remain from his first season in charge, I'm sure that a little bit element to that has been the fact the club has come close to that league title in those 2 seasons and not quite made it. And now they've done it in the 3rd time round. So that's a huge achievement for them. I'm sure a huge motivator. But you're absolutely right. Having that nucleus of players that get it, and that everybody else that comes into the club then can kind of buy into that. They lay down what the values are of the club and what the values are of the coach as well. And for him to have that support network there, players like Joey Martin, Andrew Hotham, Joey Haddad, Chris Culligan, this goes on, of course, Mark Richardson. Having those players there as that support network that the players come in can buy into, and the culture is set by those players, hugely important.
And now, of course, the club doesn't stand still. The next adventure now is the Champions Hockey League, which the Devils finally, after a couple of false starts, even when they finished second, we thought there may have been a place, but now there's no denying it's already been put on Twitter. That's how official it is. The Devils march into Europe. John, you remember the previous European trips. It's going to be a special one, a special adventure that as well, isn't it?
It always is when the Devils play in Europe. Of course, in autumn 1990, they became the first British club to win a game in the group stage. In 94, they've qualified from Tilburg, going up against some ex-Soviet Union teams and the Tilburg Trappers, and became the first British team to go forward to the next stage of the European Cup. And they were fantastic memories. I was a child at the time, so I wasn't drinking, so I actually remember them, whereas many others perhaps don't, because it's all a bit of an alcohol-fueled blur. But no, it was very, very special times, and I didn't think I'd meet a more excited man about the CHL than Aled Lloyd on my right, who's looking forward to commentating on those and doing his research on how to pronounce the names and teaching me. But if there is a more excited man, it's Andrew Lord, and I respect that. He's embracing the challenge. He doesn't see it as a distraction. He doesn't see it as a pre-season campaign ready for the Elite League. He sees it as a competition that he wants his team to make a mark on. He wants to make a mark on as a coach, and he wants to put the name of Cardiff Devils back on the map in Europe, not just in British ice hockey, and I thoroughly respect that. And it's going to be an even earlier summer for the Cardiff Devils organisations and for us, but hey, who's complaining?
I understand we're going to bug Todd Campbell for some Rosetta Stone language packs for you, Al, so you can perfect it. We'll have you in different languages. It'll be brilliant. You going to do it?
I'm glad you're excited about it, Gaz.
Gentlemen, we're going to have some video packages just before face-off today. There'll be one for the Challenge Cup and, of course, one for the league. We'll touch on the fact that we do apologise to Fife Flyers fans. It's a very Devils-centric broadcast, which isn't our norm. But as you can appreciate, it's been quite a wild 24 hours here.
Well, on that note, guys, the Fife Flyers are a very classy organisation. They were founded in 1938. They know hockey. Those fans know hockey. So, of course, we will call the game neutral tonight. But I'm sure those fans will respect the fact this is a special night in Cardiff.
Face-off is imminent. The video packages are imminent. This trophy will be next touched by Jake Morissette, who will lift it on this ice pad. You will get all the coverage of the coronation of the new Elite League champions, the Cardiff Devils, live here on IceTime.TV. Don't go anywhere.
shake. If we clap our hands, the walls will break. Yo, so loud, won't forget our names. 'Cause something big is happening. Take this spark and start a fire. Raise us up, we're feeling high. They can't tell us anything. Something big is happening. Something big, I feel it happening out of my control. Pushing, pulling, and it's grabbing me. Feel it in my bones like, oh, 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 oh.
at the start of the takeover of the Cardiff Devils. Andrew Lord led his team out in what was affectionately known the Big Blue Tent. It was a temporary ice rink. It housed on that first game around 1,200 fans. 1,200 fans that had seen pretty much as low as you can go as an ice hockey club the previous season. It was simply a promise that the Devils would work and try to be back at the top of the league, and they would do everything in their power in which to reclaim what they felt was rightfully theirs, the top spot. At the end of the third season, they finally have done it in front of a capacity crowd of over 3,000 people. It is a totally unrecognizable situation, and the dress rewards of 3 seasons of hard work culminate in this event tonight. Gareth Hewish alongside Aled Lloyd and John Donovan. And first of all, I'd just like to say thank you to the Fife Flyers who were on that ice for a long time and were very gracious in that period also. But gentlemen, tonight it's points aren't important, but Al, you spoke to Joey Martin last night, who was really pressing the point home that they don't want to lift a trophy with a loss.
Yeah, we bumped into it was a bit surreal really, wasn't it? With sort of no trophy last night, and then bumped into the team as they were sat outside waiting for their bus to arrive, just like an under 10s team really, sat on their kit bags waiting for the bus to come back and pick them up, just having a chat. And Joey Martin was saying, well, it'll be a bit strange tomorrow if we don't win to lift the trophy after. So I think that's the focus tonight, John. I think the Devils want to win tonight, have that high moment, and then go into a trophy celebration after.
Absolutely. My 176th history lesson of the season, and I do apologise. The last time the Devils won the league, they of course won it against the Manchester Storm on a Thursday night. There was no trophy then. The Devils had a couple of drinks over the next 2 days, and on the Saturday night they played the Newcastle Cobras, and the Newcastle Cobras actually beat them that Saturday night, and then the trophy was presented. It was still a momentous occasion, but yes, of course, it did take some of the edge off as we see, or hear even, Andrew Lord get a rapturous reception when his name is announced. So the Fife Flyers will be no pushovers tonight. They are a quality hockey team. They've got a lot of depth in terms of their scoring this year, and that's credit to the recruitment job that Todd Dutiem did. But for the Cardiff Devils, the focus is on winning this game and starting the celebration in the right fashion.
Denny Carney will be the healthy scratch for the Cardiff Devils this evening. And Brian Cameron for the Fife Flyers has sadly been ruled out for the rest of the season, so he will not ice tonight. We will take a short break, as I'm sure there'll be a thunderous rendition of the Welsh national anthem from Beth Millard and of course all of Ice Arena Wales, and we will be back with you for Face Off.
Now, please be upstanding, remove your caps and hats, and join Beth Millard in the singing of the Welsh national anthem.
So there's a game on before the festivities, and in terms of points, there's not really much that can be done for either side. Fife have done remarkably well in lifting themselves from a playoff battle to find themselves comfortably in mid-table. They aren't in that shootout, John, with Dundee and Manchester and Coventry. So I think that's going to be seen as progress for the Fife Flyers organisation, hasn't it?
Absolutely, step by step in the Elite League, the Fife Flyers are making progress. And guys, you know how fond I am of that club. Always love going to Kirkcaldy, and it's great to see them having a strong showing in this league. And as I mentioned in the little intro we had before the anthem, the secondary scoring the Flyers have introduced this year, they do go with a strong top 6 unit, and that's given teams a lot of trouble. And of course, one of the big results in the Devils clinching this league title was the Fife Flyers beating the Sheffield Steelers up at Kirkcaldy, and that's always been a hard place to go. And whoever gets the Flyers in the playoffs won't like that away leg, because it's a hostile building to play in, it's a fast ice, and the Flyers are very dangerous. And Thomas Murdy, who's taking the start tonight for the Devils, is going to have to be on his guard.
Of course, they've beaten the Devils, the Steelers and the Giants in Kirkcaldy this season. They are a very dangerous outfit, Al.
Yeah, they have a pretty decent record against Earhart teams, and compared to some of the other Gardner sides, so you can beat anyone on their day.
Culligan for the Devils then, looking to get a shot off early. Scott Hotham, and that's taking a couple of deflections, and Shane Owen taking a reception to having Matthew Myers in his crease. Frantic start though, and a big atmosphere for a big occasion. Batch. Devils will go for a change and use Paquette, send it forward.
Impressive to see the Devils with so much energy on the start, because Al, I don't know about you, getting in at 4 a.m, my energy levels are pretty low today.
Devils will take us behind the net. Batch. Josh Batch, of course, is someone who has been around during the pre-Todd Kelman days, so someone who's waited a long time in a Devils jersey to get his just rewards. He'll be sure to enjoy lifting that one later on.
And the Devils were good physically last night, and Josh Batch was a big part of that. Mark Lewis was supreme in defence. They really met fire with the Sheffield Steelers last night.
Lane Ulmer returns to the lineup, believed to have missed out yesterday due to the birth of his new child. So congratulations to the Ulmer family on that addition. A dad to Fournier. Takes a deflection into the glove of Shane.
And the winning of the Elite League title, like the birth of a new child to John, to my left. I wonder who was more overjoyed, Lane Ulmer or John Donovan?
Me, quite simply. Nine months is nothing compared to 20 years, Al.
Are you trying to say you went through more pain than someone in labour?
Oh,
maybe then?
absolutely.
Please join in the conversation on Twitter tonight with your hashtag Drive4Five. Maybe give us your favourite moments and memories of this season, and we'll be sure to look at them and get involved during this one. This is a title for everyone, and we know that a lot of people are only able to watch on IceTime.TV, so this one's for them as well.
Absolutely. For anyone who took huge offence to what I just said, I can promise that was a joke. Very tongue-in-cheek. Congratulations to the Ulmer family.
Joey Martin trying to dingle-dangle his way through, but he's stood up there by Kyle Haynes. To the right wing, as there's a hit finish there, and Andrew Lord it was. Had an elbow afterwards as well, so bit of a niggly start to this period.
Yeah, there was a little bit of action around Shane Owen in the first shift, and then hit came in there. Interestingly, the Flyers straight away their top two lines, the big line that started with their three top scorers on. Here we go.
Well, Patrick Bordeaux has been very controlled during the big games. Tonight, maybe, there's a little bit more of a shorter leash, shall we say, on Patrick Bordeaux.
Well, Thomas Muir's always a gamer.
Hit coming in from Bordelot, and this crowd reacts. And well, it's a penalty called on the play, and Bordelot is unhappy with that, and he has to be careful here.
You would guess maybe an interference or charging call?
And there may have been another hit as well. And another. And that's definitely another penalty, I think, on that play. That's a... This crowd is certainly reacting as Fife may be getting it away from the boards more quickly than they otherwise would have. Did you enjoy that, Alan?
I'm going to try and segue this into the point I was making beforehand. The Flyers got their top 6 forwards out. Their top line came out for the 3rd shift of the game. So already you're seeing a reliance on those top 6 forwards. The Devils, of course, with Patrick Bordelot, David Bryan on the ice, going straight through from 1st to 4th line straight away. So we expect to see that perhaps a factor across the game. And it's nice to see Bordelot with a short leash. Or long leash. Which one is it? Or maybe no leash.
I've got a terrible phobia of dogs, Al. I don't know enough about the terminology. But it was only 1 penalty on the play. There may have been 2 in there for me. But it's a charging call. Shot comes in, and that's deflected wide of Murdy as Lord goes to collect that puck, and he just did enough to muddy the waters there as Joey Martin comes across the blue line. Martin shoots, and Owen is equal to it. And Shane Owen was here earlier in the season, and I have to say he looked a little bit shaky there, but since then his numbers have been phenomenal.
His numbers have been very good, and whenever I see him, he's a stand-up goalie, and he doesn't really flop around at all, just stays square to the shooter, and he's been a backbone of the Fife Flyers this year. And the Flyers have got a history of having good goaltenders up there, and Shane Owen is the next in the line, and he could be a key player come playoff time.
Flyers power plays down around 16%. It's one of the weaker ones in the league. The Devils, of course, have got the second best penalty kill. They've been up and around that 1st, 2nd spot for most of the season. But watch the Flyers go when they get on the penalty kill themselves. They've got an astonishing 11 short-handed goals this season, almost double any other team in the league.
And they may have a power play goal here, as that's a backhand play, and just run out of room there did Shaver. As that one is put into the benches.
Great speed by Shaver, but it was the lead pass there by Russ Moyer even. Seeing Shaver hit the blue line at pace just opened up that scene. And Russ Moyer, of course, a title winner last year with the Sheffield Steelers, and he was one of those great veteran pickups I thought the Flyers made this year, along with Rick Jackman, Sebastian Hinnell. There's a whole host of experience. Brendan Brooks, another. Todd Dutiem really went down the veterans route this year, and I think it's paid dividends. So
important for any side to have a real standout top-end offensive defenseman now in the modern game, and Andrew Hotham's that for the Cardiff Devils. They have Gleason Fournier as well for the Fife Flyers. It's Russ Moyer, no doubt about it. He's 36 points in 49 games with 9 goals in league action.
And there's a turnover at the blue line, and Andrew Lord's just going to tick these seconds down. It's 35 seconds left on the power play as David Bryan does well to Mira Siska. Now Bryan loses a stick, and the Flyers will set up for one last chance on the power play. 20 seconds left. Dingle back to the point. Paquette. Shot comes in, and that's blocked on the way. Andrew Hotham with a lovely pass to Andrew Lord, who'll dump that and kill the penalty.
It's good to see Ben Bounds in his post-championship winning interview last night highlighted the play of David Bryan. He said one of the most underrated players in the league. He said there's not many, if any, better defensively in the league, and his penalty killing there was exemplary, just to show that.
Devils back to full strength now, and that's Asselin trying to find Ulmer, and it was a lovely pass by Asselin, but Ulmer just couldn't quite read it. But now here come the Flyers. James Isaacs gets it back to point. Ulmer can't collect that, so the Flyers keep the pressure on. Good save from Murdy. And Haddad will just take a couple of seconds here. Over the blue line. Fournier can't collect that pass, and Does turn it over, however, to keep the pressure on. Now here's Asselin. Culligan. Matthew Myers thought that Fournier was a bit closer to him, as the Devils have to avoid a too many men call at the blue line, or rather comical dive back onto the bench there. Culligan, now with a bit of room, Culligan, he just mishandles. Shot comes in, and that's deflected just wide. Matthew Myers looking for Doucette. Doucette's getting held right in front of Owen, but referee Hicks was in no position to see it. Murdy with a save, and he'll cover that up.
The Flyers breaking at speed. They look good on the transition. But Al, just thinking with Denny Carney sitting in that lineup tonight, I didn't see any injury last night. Do you think that's Andrew Lord just saying to the team that played most of the season, go out and earn your plaudits tonight? Denny Carney, of course, has been fantastic since he's come in, but this roster has been here all season, and I think that just might be a little pat on the back from Andrew Lord to the team that really did most to get the Devils to the league title.
Deflection sends that to the corner. Lord off the boards, and Benevolio sends it further down. Fife look very active once they get over this blue line in the offensive zone, as Josh Batch is helped out by his coach Andrew Lord. Tom Moore will not get that out. Lord looking for the slot. Scott Hotham. His shot is deflected.
Great shot blocked by Kyle Haynes. Of course, he left the Flyers and came back partway through this season, a former captain. A great pickup for the Flyers.
Bentivolio. Scott Hotham. Joey Martin. His stick sends the puck right up the other end of the ice. Now here's Josh Batch. We know what he can do sometimes when he gets over the blue line. Piggott. Send that around for Richardson. Bryan to Bordelot. See if that 2-minute minor has calmed down Patrick Bordelot at all. Bordelot sends that for Piggott. Bryan. Good cycle from the Devils' fourth line. Bryan tries to find Piggott in front of Owen and can't. And the Flyers are forced into an icing.
Yeah, I think we wonder what kind of game we would see tonight, and we're certainly not seeing the game played at its a full tempo. But the type of coach Andrew Lord is, he won't want his side to lose the details that he coaches and the systems, and in terms of the preparation going into the playoffs, all of that will remain the same. In terms of Fife Flyers, they've got a lot more depth than most of the Gardner side, so they can play a little bit as well. They're not going to just sit back and defend like we maybe see sometimes with Manchester and Dundee and Edinburgh when they come down to Ice Arena Wells. So we're going to see a pretty attractive game of hockey, I would think, if not played perhaps at that full tempo that we might have seen had there been a bit more on this one.
Interesting to get thoughts on that Siska-Scarcella debate. Of course, Siska, I've been impressed with him already tonight with his speed. A lot of people say, would he do quite so well in this conference? And Scarcella, who's racking up the points in Dundee, the same applies to him. I think they're quality hockey players.
Chipped off the boards, and now Finucci will get there first. Tries to get it onto his forehand, and it will be a penalty, but I'm really not sure how close that stick was to the foot there.
We talk about the extra depth as well of the Fife Flyers. You've got a player there in James Isaacs, who's a defenseman by trade, but he's a great versatile player, can play at this level. Of course, had a stint at Coventry as well, playing on that third line with Finucci, who's come up from the EPL, but he's not a million miles away from a point a game either. So that's a lot of depth for the Fife Flyers, John.
Really like that pickup of Finucci in the summer. I thought it was a clever pickup from the Swindon Wildcats. He scored an abundance of points for the Wildcats last year, but perhaps more impressively in Denmark, he was going to point a game. He brings speed as well. It was a very good pickup, of course, EU passport holder.
So the Flyers go on the power play once more, and the Devils will chip this one out early. Jackman. Play that in behind Murdy's net, and that's a hit finished by Fox. Now the Devils maybe with a short-handed chance. Martin, he's on his own. Martin shoots and he goes wide. Lord isn't going to allow that to happen, and he finishes it, and that's going to get called. And I'm very surprised at that, as we're going to get it going. Yeah, Lord is going to drop the gloves. No, the linesmen have jumped in before they can. Now there's another push by Andrew Hotham. And this one's bubbling, but the call there for you, John?
Well, it should have been a tripping call on the play. Andrew Lord, when he was trying to gain the zone with Joey Martin, there should have been a tripping call. It wasn't called by Mike Hicks, who maybe was in front of that play. Lord came back and finished his hit. I thought the puck was, whether it's going to be charging or interference, I didn't think it was an interference call, whether referee Hicks calls it as a charging call, but a little bit of free rein tonight for the Devils. Andrew Hotham, who we know has got a history against the Flyers, him and Philippe Parquet have gone before. He gave a little extra shove there to Russ Moyer.
Straight away, Patrick Bordelot is on the ice and having words. And this is what you expect from your enforcer, I guess.
It's Sebastian Tinel there as well, so I suspect that exchange is taking place in French. And maybe they were just arranging where they were going to have a cup of tea after.
It's a shame we haven't got a mic, and Hotham's having a shove now off the play, and the linesmen are going to have to get involved here.
I talked about the game perhaps not being played at 100% tempo, and it was in a lull there, but it was that just one hit from Fox, wasn't it? That's the game of hockey, the beauty of the game of hockey. Something like that can just bring it to life. We then see the trip on Lord, who responds with perhaps a charge then, and all of a sudden the emotion comes into it. The scenario of the result doesn't make too much of a difference, and we just see the competitors, the professionals, come out.
And Jackman, of course, an ex-NHLer in his own right, having a chat with Patrick Bordelot. They've would have had many of them in their times around the blocks.
So it's 2+2 on Lord. He gets the roughing call along with Moyer, but he also picks up a charging call on that play. And maybe you can understand that there are a few extra strides in there. I was worried it was going to be an interference call. I thought the puck was still in a playable area, but I got no problem with Andrew Lord responding there. I thought it was a trip on the play, and the player coach, as he's done all season, leads by example when it comes to intensity.
And Andrew Lord enjoys fighting. He said to us before he would fight every game if he wasn't, if he could. He wasn't the player coach, so perhaps in this sort of environment, it just allows him to play a bit more on his natural instincts.
So it will be 5-on-3 for the Flyers for the next 1 minute 15 seconds. Excellent opportunity for them to open the scoring. Siska feeds Jackman, who shoots. As a good save from Murdy through traffic.
That's a bomb from Jackman. They're going to look to key on him because he can really release it.
Fox, who started the whole shebang and then was nowhere near it as Jackman fires over the cage again. Good pass to Siska, and that's a block by Joey Martin. Another block, this time by Hotham, and Hotham can't collect it, and the pressure remains for the Flyers. 35 seconds of the 5-on-3 remaining. This Ice Arena Wales crowd responding to the shot blocking of the Devils. Passed across the crease, and nothing doing now. Here's Dingle. Back to Siska. He's got Jackman, who's trying to load up the one-timer. Siska, he couldn't load it up either, and 10 seconds remain on the 5-on-3. Jackman with an opportunity, another block, and Martin can't get it out. Siska with a play, and Murdy has to cover up from Fox, and that's heroic defending from the champions.
And you look at, again, we talk about what, there's not too much on this game. The Devils send out their top penalty killing unit, their number one defence pairing of Hotham and Richardson, their top line centre in Joey Martin, three of the best penalty killers on the team and in the league as well, and throwing the body on the line there. These players, that professional pride is just coming out.
Well, it's the professional pride that Andrew Lord has installed, and great shot blocking there from Andrew Hotham, Joey Martin. Of course, there's also an obligation to Thomas Murdy. The Devils can't leave him out to dry.
Shot, and Murdy saves, and the rebound as well. And now Mark Lewis has come out of the box, so now we have 30 seconds of 5-on-4 power play for the Flyers as Scott Hotham sends that around, and Batch has a little bit of time and sends it down so the Devils can get a change.
Should to say, Thomas Moody made a couple of big saves on that play, and we've said it all season up in this gantry. He's, well, he could really be a starting netminder somewhere, and his reactions are first class.
5 seconds remain on the power play for Fife as Fanucci dangles around Fournier. Cut out by Bordelot, and Bordelot's pass is just to get it out of the zone. And now Andrew Lord and Russ Moy stay, but here's Bordelot with a chance. Bordelot with a little toe drag, and Owen makes the save.
Well, that's very, very pretty from Patrick Bordelot, and you can do that when you're champions, but I wonder in a perhaps more pivotal game whether that puck might have gone on net a little earlier, but nice to see some lovely stick handling there by the French-Canadian, and Shane Owen makes a good save.
So Russ Moyes out of the box. Lord will have to stay in for a couple of minutes more yet. Fox tries to send that one out, but Scott Hotham stands him up. It's a lovely turn by Asselin, who sends it down to Haddad, and Haddad gets away from his defenseman just for a little bit, and now the puck lays there, and there's a hand on that for a second, and no call there.
Well, the whistle went to the mouth.
Asselin. Asselin with a shot, good pad save. Haddad was there looking for the rebound but couldn't get to it. And Fife will chip that out and it'll be an icing call.
Todd Dutien will be looking at this though as well. He's as an opportunity for his club, assured of their playoff place, of course, Fife Flyers, but an opportunity for his club to play against the league's #1 team and to get battle hardened for that playoff quarter-final as well, John.
Absolutely. The Flyers will have to go up against a top-ranking team at some point, and it's great experience here in the home of the champions to have to play to a compete level that gets you playoff ready.
Andrew Hotham. Backhand plays, backdoor, Owen saves. Doucette it was. And Mark Richardson can't keep that in the zone.
Murdy's made some fine saves for the Devils, but Owen has 2 and he's a high-class goaltender.
Andrew Hotham tries to find Matthew Myers. He doesn't. Now it's a breakaway attempt for the Flyers. They're in, and Murdy makes the save. Brendan Brooks it was for the Flyers as Richardson finishes his hit.
Yeah, all that AHL experience, and Murdy robs him, but what a great pass from James Isaacs into Brooks to set him away. But Thomas Murdy there showing what an excellent netminder he is.
Doucette. In behind for Asselin. Asselin to Joey Martin on the forehand, but Owen did really well there to cut down the angle. Gave the Devils marksman nothing to shoot at. Mark Lewis, he can't find a shooting lane, so sends it around for Joey Martin. Martin's looking busy. Martin with a shot, and that's high and wide. Bentivolio. Asselin leaves it for Fournier. Still with Fournier. Shockers in from Asselin, and Owen makes the save. Devils starting to move forward in waves here. Martin. Well cut out that pass, and the Flyers will start a rush. Shaver, and he's under duress from Josh Batch.
A very different game to the one I imagined. A lot of intensity, a lot of physicality. No letting off from either team tonight.
And now with a lovely pass, and here's Shaver, and that's another great save from Murdy, who's having a great night, but the Devils will want less work for the man in net. As we see Andrew Lord in the penalty box there, the caged lion waiting to get back into this atmosphere. Batch to Haddad. Haddad with a shot, that goes wide. Brine does well to get a stick on that. Turnover at neutral ice. Now the Flyers turn it over. They have a chance. Well, that's cut out with a stick. Shot comes in by Fox and is deflected wide. Brine to Haddad. And Andrew Lord must be incredulous with his men not to have just thrown this one into the benches. Shot comes in by Brooks, and Murdy makes the save, and Lord is released.
And the Devils have just got a little loose the last couple of shifts, but Thomas Murdy has been a foundation there to keep the Devils on level terms in this first period. And you know, Thomas Murdy, Andrew Lord knows he can allow Ben Bounce to now recover from that injury he sustained in Sheffield last weekend, safe in the knowledge that Thomas Murdy can hold the fort and then more.
Here's Doucette. Doucette with a shot, and that's gone over. Fournier. Puck goes all the way around, and Mark Lewis gets there first, but can't take the puck with him. Paquette can't find a way around Fournier. The Flyers still with it. Siska tries to get that to point and does, but Doucette, it was who sent it on the other end of the ice, and both teams will go for a change. Flyers do well to play their way out of the zone. A long stretch pass on for the Devils if they can use it, and they can. It's Lord. Lord with the opening, and that's gone deflected over the net of Owen into the upper echelons of Ice Arena Wales.
Yeah, nice shot block there by Chase Shaber. Lord gained the zone very well, used Martin as a decoy going to the net and tried to cut into that high slot area, but Shaber stayed with the play, made a good shot block, and maybe one of those underrated heroes for the Fife Flyers, number 91, Chase Shaber. Good defensively responsible forward. The other guys put up the points, but he always holds up his end of the bargain.
Haddad trying to find a little bit of space, and does. Ulmer to Haddad with a bit of space to Asselin, and there it is! Coronation Day. Here's the score opened by Patrick Asselin, 1-0 Devils.
The first goal scored by the Cardiff Devils as reigning Elite League champions, and it's Patrick Asselin who has that honour. It's nicely played, and Joey Haddad, who's really been a standout player for so many weeks, so many months now, looks like he's going to put the puck on net. He draws everybody towards him and then slips a lovely pass to the back door, similar to the Devils' second goal last night in Sheffield. And who's there? Patrick Asselin to tip in. Beautiful goal, and it starts the Devils off with a 1-0 lead.
Asselin's 18th this season. He's so good at that, isn't he? Just peeling away and finding space in front and scoring in on the back post like that. He was in a battle for a little while there with Kyle Haynes out front, but as soon as he saw that the Devils had found a way through to get into the goal, just pulled away, found time and space, and that's number 18 for number 23. Could do that for almost well, every player, couldn't you? Every game. I wonder how long that would take to get tiring.
We don't take long. Shot comes in from Fife, but it's blocked, and now here's Haddad again. This line stays on for the Devils. Haddad trying to find Ulmer. Andrew Hotham can't collect the puck, and now Fife dumped that in, and Asselin stops that with his face and seemingly had no effect at all. I would be much more effective as Brooks shoots.
That's what alcohol does.
Took a puck to the face earlier in the season, didn't he? And returned to the game fairly imminently, and was blown up like a beach ball after.
These these guys are made from much better stuff than me. There's Murdy.
Well, Zor football showed that, Gaz, to be honest.
This is a night of celebration, John, not negativity.
Well, it was a night of celebration for the owners. We're all just cells, guys. By the sounds of what's going on in my ears, I may be the only person part of the Ice Time crew that isn't drunk by the end of this broadcast.
That's always the case, isn't it?
Drunk on hockey.
Back to the point for the Flyers. So we're into the final minute of the first period as Bordelow's pass is cut out. Shaver. So a very impressive first period as the Fife Flyers number 91. Now he plays it into Fox, whose shot goes over. And Shaver again. Tenacious play. But eventually there's too many red jerseys and the Devils chip out.
Oh, we need another kerfuffle, really, don't we? Just to set things off again.
Bonucci had gone round, and that was a lovely drop pass attempt. And now he has another chance. Fife feel they can get one here before the end. So now Murdy has to be alert as Fife again with a shot, and Murdy has to equal to it, but they don't get one before the end. And a more feisty game than maybe many expected during that first period. But it was the champions, the Cardiff Devils, who broke the deadlock. Joey Haddad finding Patrick Asselin at the back post, and he tucked it away, and the Coronation Day starts as the Devils would have liked.
But for me, guys, credit to both teams. There's a capacity crowd here tonight, and we all know they're mainly here for the celebration afterwards, the trophy presentation. But they paid their money, and they need, entertaining. And the Fife Flyers and the Cardiff Devils are certainly doing that. It's been an intense game. There's been a lot of good saves from both netminders. There's been a pretty goal. There's been some tenacity out there and a few physical confrontations. So thoroughly enjoyed that first period.
In fairness, John, this game was sold out before the Devils won the league title. So are you suggesting that everyone here is clairvoyant?
Well, I predicted it back in August, Al, so I assume everyone was on the same page. Once I say something, surely that's...
Well, it didn't work last year or the year before.
You keep saying something, it'll come true. Even a stop clock is right twice a day, sir.
Look at these characters now coming out here. Wonder, there's a shorter individual here, Gaz, and I know
you mentioned me.
Well, I was just going to ask you because you can give insight. As you had an issue with sort of leg length.
With height.
Yeah. Well, I don't really like to think about it a lot, Al, but now you've brought it up. I did, yes. The Zorb is not designed for the shorter man because when you try to get up, the Zorb is restrictive. You need that leg room to bend your leg.
Did you try to get up?
It's key that the bottom of the Zorb is above the knee, isn't it? Otherwise,
yes.
You're in trouble.
To answer your question, John Donovan, sadly, yes. And the times I did manage to get back to my feet, I was very quickly put back down as the shorter gentleman here does take someone out.
Well, it's a great shot block or fall over, one or the other.
The lady there who is a little bit shorter than the others out there. There's a goal. In fairness, Gaz is getting up a lot quicker than you did. And she's been down 5 times already. Who cares? It's a goal. Hey, let's see a hit.
That's a launcher.
I like that because it was sort of almost careless, wasn't it? There was no regard to their own personal safety.
And that's good because then you get 2 people hurt for the price of 1 hit.
Indeed. It's certainly to be applauded.
I'm interested in a piece of commentary there. That's a launcher. I'm not quite sure. It's very descriptive. I like that.
I was happy with it.
It's a launcher.
That's a recognised play in Zorb football, John. I'm surprised you hadn't done your research to know that.
It's possibly the only one.
As you know from 35 weeks of the season, I never do my research.
We've never seen 4 goals, according to Todd Kelman, so we might be on the verge of history here, which of course would far outweigh anything we saw last night in Sheffield or are about to see in terms of ice hockey.
This is the reason Steve King bought the club, Zorb football.
I like that Todd Kelman is less Cardiff Devils GM and more official statistician of Zorb football.
Well, he's got to do something.
He didn't go last night, did he?
There's a great story behind that. We've got to tell in the second period.
Oh, I like that, after the whistle.
Yeah.
Has to be applauded.
Of course, every hit in Zorb football, regardless of when it's made, goes to your hit stats.
We're just getting a little bit of direction in our ear that we've got some montages to show you, but GM Todd Kelman demanded an interview, I think, when we stepped into the office earlier, so at some point we're obviously going to catch up with him on a title-winning night and get that story, Gaz, that we got earlier about Andrew Lord texting Todd Kelman yesterday to find out whether he was in the building.
Yeah, this is
So, yeah, that sounds like an idea that we're just getting whispered in our ear that we'll go to a celebratory montage first to allow Todd Kelman to wrap up the Zorb football proceedings, and then we'll be back with the league-winning Devils GM.
Everybody in the building knows what's about to happen, and that is that the Cardiff Devils are the Elite League champions.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh. can't stop the, I can't stop the feeling. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say.
And what a fantastic montage that was put together by our director, Adrian Rapps, who was at the game last night and enjoyed the celebrations, but stayed up until 6 a.m. this morning to put that together. And I'm pleased to say that I'm going to be joined, if he's going to put his champagne down, and he's very annoyed he's not going to be on camera. I'm joined by Devils GM Todd Kelman, who's going to join Aled and myself. And Todd, it's a journey of 3 years. You won it a few years ago with the Belfast Giants, but how does this feel right now?
I'd say it's hard. And whenever you win, it's hard to really, like, because people say, does it mean more? It means something different? But I can say this: I've never been more bought in to a championship as this one. I think, you know, when the journey we came on, we took the team over 3 years ago from probably the lowest point in history for the Devils to be where we are now is incredible for all of us. We're very humble. We look around, like, you think of where we started. You know, I remember walking into the Big Blue tent the first day. I walked in with my wife, actually, and she was like, wow, we gave up all that in Belfast for this, huh? And I said, no, it'll get good. Don't worry, it'll get good. And then you're here, and we're selling out every single week. The fans are tremendous. It's a dream season. Like, I mean, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. There's still a trophy to win, still 2 trophies. You know, like, I'm greedy. I want the conference, and I obviously want the playoffs. But yeah, it's something special, that's for sure.
Well, you obviously enjoyed the conference last year with that trophy parade that you led from the front of. Can you, you know, it is a night of celebration. We will ask some serious questions, but you happened to tell Gareth Hughes and myself quite an interesting anecdote last when we were in the office a little earlier. Andrew Lord, does he still think you were in the building last night?
Well, I've lost a league in Sheffield a few times, and I didn't think I was superstitious, but when I thought we have a chance to clinch it, and especially, like, you know what, I think people are forgetting that Sheffield, as much as we beat them last night to win the league, they did us a huge favor on Friday night. Like, them beating, playing the way they played hard, they played to win, and I mean, the performance of Irvin Mustakov on Friday, I thought he played great against us in the Challenge Cup final. My goodness, the game in Belfast, he was unbelievable. But they did us a huge favor by beating Belfast. But then I started getting phone calls and texts, are you coming, we're going, and it was almost like everyone was planning the celebration, and I hate that. I just hate that. So I very much told everyone, I'm not going. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I've been in Sheffield. I've been sat in the stands or been on the ice a number of times, too many to mention, and either watched them celebrate or lost and found out that we lost the league. So I didn't want to be there at all. And Lordo really wanted me there, and he basically said, you need to be there. I know we're going to do it tonight. We're so prepared. And Lordo just in his head had already won the game. He was focused on it. He said, we're going to dominate. We're going to go in there and win. You have to be there. You have to be on the ice for everything we've done the last 3 years, blah, blah, blah. Gave me a real emotional talk. Then he followed it up with a longer text. And so I said, fine, I'll be there, knowing full well I was never going to be there. And then he texted me again about 4 o'clock and said, you're on your way, right? And I said, yeah, I'm just passing Birmingham. And I think I was grocery shopping at Marks and Spencer's. But there was no way in hell I was going to be in that building last night because I'm too superstitious. So.
But you enjoyed a drink afterwards with a man who helped to make all this happen and really got you keen on buying into the Cardiff Devils. That was Neil Francis, and you know, that was probably the best moment, I think, or right place for you to be, you and him sharing a beer.
Absolutely, and Franny, that was the first call I made, and like I you know, Franny, I think Franny for everything he's done for this club, and then for a year like this to not be the bench coach, I'm sure a lot of people could be mad or bitter in a way. Franny's quite the opposite. He's so happy this year. He's so happy we won. The first thing he said when he came in the bar, he said, "Look, everyone's going to talk about the team and stuff." And he looked. He said, "You just got to listen. You got to take a compliment." And he sat me down for a couple minutes and said what it meant to him and everything that he felt that us and the owners did. And I said, "Listen, man, you were the guy that called. You called me. I didn't call you, right?" And so no matter what, I think it's important for everyone to focus on the fact that none of us are here without Franny. Franny's the guy that wanted us to hire Andrew Lord. I didn't even know Andrew Lord. I think I hadn't even talked to him when Franny told me to hire him. He just said, "You have to, you have to. This is their guy. This is the guy that has to lead this team." And I'm glad he did. And Franny will always be part of this organization as long as I'm here, and he will, and which is hopefully for, hopefully it's not 20 years till our next league championship, but he'll be here as long as I'm here.
Todd, was there a moment in this season where you kind of knew it was going to happen? Was there like a game or a moment or anything where you kind of felt it felt a bit different?
Yeah, I think back to that game in Sheffield on March 18th, and that is literally the first time I thought it was going to happen. I never wanted to I never talked about it. I never talked about anything because last season I thought we were going to win it, and I'm not one to get ahead of myself. I just thought last year we had it. I just thought we were dominating, and we just fell apart in January. And people say we choked. We didn't choke. We just ran out of steam. There's a big difference. And you looked at how Nottingham had built their team last year with 4 lines, and you look and evaluate what you can do different. And the big thing for us was we need 4-line. We need 4-line hockey because the thing we didn't lose because we were outskilled at the end. We were injured. We were tired, and that's why we lost last year. And we wanted to make sure that didn't happen again this year.
We can talk about all the team. It's a collective effort, and we always talk about the Joey Martins and the Andrew Hothams. But can I ask you about Ben Bounds? Because if my memory serves me correct, he wasn't a new era Cardiff Devils signing. He was actually on the books when you took over the club, and he was a British netminder, and there's always been maybe a little bit of a stigma of British netminders. Of course, you had Stephen Murphy in Belfast, but just the journey he's been on, and specifically last night where maybe he wasn't even ready to go, but he did go and he made some fantastic crucial saves. Just what it means to have Ben Bounds there as the foundation of the Cardiff Devils.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Ben Bounds should not have played last night. He absolutely shouldn't have played. He's an absolute warrior. That will go up in Cardiff Devils folklore. Last night will go down in history for Ben Bounds because he shouldn't have played. Everyone's like, "Oh, that was a genius move. You guys said you were calling up Sam Gospel." No, we genuinely called up Sam Gospel. He was driving to the game. And then Boundsy skated yesterday for the first time. He put a skate on yesterday morning, tried it out, and said, "I think I can go. At least I at least can back up Murdy." And the thing is, like, let's not take anything away from Murdy. We don't. Murdy went in and won 6 games in a row for us or something at the beginning of the year, including a game against Sheffield. So our team wasn't panicking that Boundsy wasn't going to play. But when the guy that your whole team relies on steps up and says, "Yeah, I can play," it's a big boost, man. It's a huge boost, and he played out of his skin. He was awesome last night.
I guess there's 4 guys back in Calgary who's going to be enjoying this, and we have a little bit of fun with them, but they've done such a service to this club. Talk to me about those owners and how they've bought into the Cardiff Devils.
Yeah, it's how you're supposed to own a hockey team. They all have other jobs. They're all very successful businessmen. They're smart guys, and they have a passion for ice hockey. And when we talked about it, it was never about like, okay, well, hopefully we can turn this investment into something, sell the team on in a few years, or maybe we'll start taking money out of it. Never once has that ever been discussed. It's always like, we'll put it back into the club, or we'll give some more money to junior hockey, or we'll make it sure it's a sustainable business, and we're going to have fun. This is our passion. We're going to fly over a few times a year, and that's exactly what they're doing. And they're having a good time, and they're enjoying it, and they're probably watching tonight. And you can't say enough about them. Their teams don't have owners like that. They just don't. And it's nothing against other owners, but there's always a business side to it. Not that we're not businessmen, but they're in it for the right reasons. And we treat the fans and we treat the players and the staff respectfully and treat them right. And that was the whole ethos of our team from day one.
And the second period's about to start. Just one more question.
I'm not ready for it to start. I got like 10 more minutes of interview.
There's no exit strategy, Todd. Is there? You, the owners, your legacy building now? You've got one. The job's not done. I assume the plan is now to go forward and just grow this franchise strength to strength.
No, the only strategy we have, we said if we won the league, we'd take a little bit of money each and we'd buy IceTime.TV new microphones. And that was our only commitment really this year, because these microphones are horrific. I don't know what year they're from. I think they're Oh, sorry, Howard. They're terrible. Honestly, it's time for some new microphones. If you guys want me to give you the money, I'm fine. I am absolutely fine. I'll give you the money for the new microphones. Seriously, buy some new microphones, John.
$89.90 banner.
$89.90 banner. Yeah, I've got to throw that in. When you put the other one up for this year, you're going to put that $89.90 one up as well?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah? That's a promise.
We'll put them all.
Todd, we have a lot of fun with you, and it's been great to be on the gantry with you this year. But just in all seriousness, thank you so much for everything you've done for the Cardiff Devils.
Yeah. Okay.
Todd Kelman there, and well, if there was never an enforced stoppage to him speaking, I just get the impression he would just continue speaking continually. Do you like that, Gaz?
I like everything you do, Al.
Anyway, he's had to give way here to a hockey game, which is about to start its second period. The Devils lead 1-0. And it was a good first period. I enjoyed it. Did you?
I certainly did. I thought it was. You never know what you're going to get at the end of the season with some teams, and I think in my personal opinion, my opinion is a bit scarred from previous teams who maybe had imports that didn't have the desire, but the pride that I feel that every team has come into Ice Arena Wales with this season has been far and above any other Elite League season. We're seeing that again tonight with Fife.
Absolutely, and Todd Kelman put a great article on the Cardiff Devils website today about how the Devils should embrace being champions and how the Devils should act as champions. But he also used, or he put in there a comment that for the first time he thinks the Elite League is better than Super League, and that's why it means so much that the Cardiff Devils finished top of the pile this year. Super League was a fantastic standard, and it's a hard sort of toss-up, but this year of Elite League hockey has been absolutely fantastic, and showing the professionalism, even in a seemingly meaningless game like tonight, there's still a lot of skill and intensity on display.
Mark Lewis goes over to Gleeson Forney, and he'll just chip that one in to Patrick Aslin, who makes a nice play there, actually, to Joey Haddad, who'll to make a move around the outside of Kyle Haynes. Haddad still has a hold of the puck, and he'll just barge his way into the zone, so difficult to move off the puck, and then give it up again to Ulmer. One-timer try from Patrick Aslin. It didn't work for him, and Kyle Haynes has it. Brendan Brooks now, who's recently been announced in the GB squad, I believe, over to Ryan Dingle, the Flyers' top scorer this season. Dingle, 29 goals in the league. Incredible from him this season. My apologies. That was actually Fox over there, but the fact stands that Dingle is a good player as well.
Dingle's good too.
Winding up on the blue line. Might be a chance there in the back door. Another try for Brendan Brooks, who's had 2 or 3 good looks actually in this game so far. Matt Siska just fires that one across the slot area, and it's back now with Rick Jackman through traffic. Good save there from Tom Murdy. It might have had a little tip on the way through as well, and Jackman's so good at getting that puck to net, but Murdy was good.
Not just a good save, Al, a great save. Good spot from you. It was Siska who deflected that puck and changed the flight, but Thomas Murdy just tracked it the whole way. And guys, you just got to be thoroughly impressed by the way Thomas Murdy's performing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd mentioned it. There was a time during this season where Bounds was injured, and Murdy picked up about 4, 5, 6 games in a row, and the Devils won them all. He's been such a pivotal player and presence in this Cardiff Devils team, and without him, who knows how this league table might look.
Matthew Myers won the draw against Chase Saber, and the shot is fired in there from Chris Culligan. There's a delayed call here from referee Michael Hicks, so Josh Batch will go D to D as Tom Murdy goes to the bench. It's touched there by Sebastian Tinnell, and that will be enough for the whistle to go, so the Devils will get their first power play opportunity of the night. We might see a Fife Flyers short-handed goal.
Yeah, Myers there just trying to bull in a china shop his way through, as he always does, to such great effect. And Rick Jackman, such a strong man, NHL veteran, he couldn't hold Myers, and he had to clutch at him, and it's a holding call on the play, and the Devils' very effective power play has a chance to go to work.
So it's Andrew Lord who'll take the draw for the Devils. Fox read that well and will clear for Fife Flyers, and Andrew Hotham will go back. Devils power play was good last night against the Sheffield Steelers. And it's Andrew Hotham now. Leads the play. Drops that one off instead to Joey Martin. Now it's with Sean Bentavolio. Back to Martin perhaps. That's a nice cut-out play from Russ Moyer, but he couldn't clear the zone. Space for the Cardiff Devils to build this power play now with 30 seconds gone. Behind the net for Andrew Lord. Bentavolio has the puck now. Back to Andrew Hotham. Andrew steps in, shoots, deflected in front of Shane Owen and wide. Over the far side. And Mark Richardson now back to Andrew Lord. Richardson a goal last night in that championship performance in Sheffield. Andrew Lord with a goal. Joey Martin with a goal. Sean Bentavolio with a goal. And Hotham assisted on a few.
You know, guys, you look at Sean Bentavolio and we think of him as such a skillful hockey player, but he's also a pest as well. It was Russ Moyer there who really got agitated by Bentavolio, who's got a good net front presence.
Look at that play there from Patrick Aslin, turning on a sixpence. He got the puck over to Joey Haddad, who has it back now from Lane Ulmer that time. Haddad will work the half boards and just cut inside and drop that one off for Patrick Aslin. Inside it goes to Scott Hotham, and he made a nice play there to keep it alive to Gleeson Fournier. Through traffic it is, they score! Tipped out front from the Gleeson Fournier shot. The Devils go 2-0 up on the power play.
Well, the Devils were working that puck very well in the zone. They really controlled the whole of that power play. They managed to create space for Fournier, and Fournier, as he so often does, he doesn't try and break the net, he just flights a shot in, and it's Joey Haddad with the net front presence who gets the lovely redirection, and Shane Owen a little deep in his net, didn't have time to react, and we've got a 2-0 hockey game.
Their power play continues to be on fire, the Cardiff Devils, and they are looking like they're enjoying this occasion.
Joey Haddad's 19th for the season, and perhaps the Devils' best player since Christmas, Joey Haddad as well, although that's tough competition for that role when you consider some of the other players out there as well. Doucette sends that one in, back to 5-on-5 of course, after the Devils' power play goal. The Fife Flyers will come away. Fournier and Scott Hotham get the assists. Sent in there, but it wasn't tipped. It was a good play from Matt Siska, but the Flyers couldn't get on the end of it. It's back with Josh Batch for the Cardiff Devils now. He leads, or looks to lead, Chris Culligan, but he'll get the puck back and just send that one into the zone. It's with Russ Moyer now. Moyer with a good pass there, and we're going to get something going is James Isaacs. It gets tipped in by Rick Chapman, and the Flyers will make changes. Josh Batch there being worked over a little bit. So that was good play from Sebastian Tennell, but a good defensive work from David Bryan, but Patrick Bordelow gave it up, and now it's the Chase Shaber tries to get it out front. Shaber's working hard behind the net. No call on the play there as Shaber went down. The Devils will clear the zone.
Just to go back to your point, Al, I think that's a fair shout that Joey Haddad might be the Devils' best player since Christmas.
That one gets turned over. Bryan will shoot, and it's there. It was Patrick Bordelow now looking for a wraparound try, but the Flyers survive.
And there is a lot of competition, but I look at that importance of that line.
Again, it was Fox, and John will get a third try to finish his point.
Absolutely. That Ulmer, Haddad, Asselin line providing the secondary scoring, where in previous seasons perhaps there has been an over-reliance on the Joey Martin line. Absolutely. That's been the crucial difference, I think.
There we go. Brendan Brooks it is. He'll get that one into the zone, and he'll hustle and bustle his way there and gets it out to Tom Murdy and look to catch Murdy out, but he's alert to everything so far. And he's been superb in net for the Devils. 25 minutes in. Did you finish your point in the end, John?
I have no idea.
What were you talking about?
I don't know. I made a nice quiche earlier.
Something to do with the league championship? Matt Siska tries to get that one out front. What a defensive play that was from Joey Martin, though. And away goes Sean Bentavolio. Bentavolio at speed's got Mark Lewis jumping into the play, but again, good defensive work that time by the Flyers as Dingle will send that one cross ice and Fournier will pick it up.
Excellent work from coach Andrew Lord there to spot the space that Mark Lewis had left. It forced the Flyers.
Space now for Andrew Lord, who
he does it to everybody,
up and
guys.
Fired. How is this my fault? Pipe down over there. Wait for the breaks.
It was easier when the Devils were rubbish. There was more of them.
Carlo Finucci will make a lead play there to Josh Schoons. That's a third line shift out there with Isaacs as well. Flyers just rotating a little on that third line. Finucci and Isaacs ever present, and into the zone go the Devils. No offside on the play there. It's back out front now. Scott Hotham might go backhand, but it evaded him, and he has another chance. Scott will just try and get away from Schoon. Schoon does well on him, but it's now there in the corner for Lane Ulmer, and now Joey Haddad. Haddad gets it over to Patrick Aslin, heads up play from him, but good cutout play from Russ Moyer. But the Devils get that cycle game going, and perhaps this line is the best they have at doing just that. It's still in the zone. Now for Josh Batch. What a play that is. On the back door, might be a wraparound attempt as Owen is stranded. Still there, Haddad out front. It may have deflected wide on the way through. If it did, it was a great play from James Isaacs. Here's Scott Hotham now. The Devils build momentum in this second period, 2-0 up, and just looking to control this game. Haddad sends it in, and it's cleared by Shane Owen, and it sounds like the two gentlemen to my left have learnt their lesson. You want to do your job and commentate over this replay?
Yeah, something happened here.
It's been a good run.
Who'd have thought? A league championship coronation game fired in for our first fallout. They score! No goal. Matthew Myers was comfortably camped in the crease of Shane Owen there, so that one will get whistled off quickly and assuredly by referee Hicks.
I have to say, though, I don't think it was actually his presence in the crease that caused Owen to make a hash of that. I think if Myers hadn't been in such close proximity, I think that still would have gone in. But of course, the correct call is made by referee Mike Hicks.
If I could go back to making half coherent points, which is always difficult for me.
Are we on about the quiche again? He's given up. Sorry, John. That's turned over by Guillaume Doucette. Sent over now. Who is it? It's Chris Culligan. Under pressure from Paquet. Now Sebastian Tinel. The Flyers getting a little bit camped in here. Doucette has it now. That cycle game for the Devils. That high forecheck working so well against the Steelers last night, and they seem to be employing that more and more now against the Flyers. But you go the Fife Flyers. Paquet will shoot there, and it was well blocked by Gleason Fournier. That's a nice bit of stick work there from Guillaume Doucette to calm things down for the Devils. So a little bit scrappy, but can David Bryan do something about that? David Bryan looking to make a play. Sauces that one inside, and a good stick there on defence means the Fife Flyers can clear the puck. That was Paquet again. Cross-ice play, though, it wasn't quite handled by Bordelot, so he'll get bumped into the boards there by Chris Wands. And Bordelot, though, with the body strength as well. Gets it to Andrew Hoffman. Through traffic, well saved by Shane Owen. We get a whistle.
And I think what we're going to find here is the Devils have more freedom to roll those four lines more freely. So I think Fife's tiredness is going to come into play maybe a bit sooner than it would in ordinary circumstances, where the Devils would maybe load their top two lines a bit more regularly.
Of course, a hard game for the Flyers last night against Braehead, a long travel day today, and the Devils just continue to play well down low, which has really been the recipe for success all season.
Here they are on the far side now. Through traffic, it hit the side of the net, I think there. It was almost caused me much embarrassment, thinking it might be a goal.
Do your job.
David Bryan sends that one over to Andrew Hotham. Hotham under pressure from Brendan Brooks, and he turns and makes a play, but that might see the Flyers away. Siska, he's got Brooks with him. The trailer is Dingle. Tries though for Siska, and it was well blocked there. Still out front, and Tom Murdy has dislodged the net there, and there's no whistle as he puts it back on, and Chris Jones will shoot, and it's well blocked by Brendan Brooks, is that? Yes, it is. Now Joey Martin, we've got a bit of a It's almost like a computer game that had got a fault there for a moment. What was going on? Like an old FIFA game, where the players just sort of stop-start, and then you're winning 5-0 and everything's stops and you have to reset the game. Joey Martin gets it over to Josh Batch. Not many worse feelings in the world than that. Sean Bentifolio. The Devils keep it in the zone now. It's starting to look a little like a power play with the zone dominance they're getting. Batch will try and send it through. That's a good block out front though, but Kyle Haynes can't get rid of it. Andrew Lord. Still in the zone. Batch there with a good heads-up play. Shane Owen's got to handle the puck, and he does well in the end and gets a little bit of help. And away goes Carlo Finucci. Finucci now through the neutral zone as the Flyers go 3-on-3 with the Devils. Shot fired in. It was well saved in the end by the blocker of Tom Murdy. Joey Martin now senses an opportunity perhaps, puts the brakes on. He's got Josh Batch going towards the net. Martin there holds the puck up beautifully, but it'll just trickle out of the zone with help from the stick of Josh Schoon, who will go to the bench. James Isaacs there in a board battle, and he does well to get it out of the zone. Finucci will dump it in for Tinnell to chase up against Gleason Fournier. Fournier looks for a lead pass there, and in the end it worked out, as Joey Haddad was the intended recipient, and he eventually got a hold of the puck. Fox there will make a play, and Shaver can't get it out, so we'll see the Devils in the offensive zone again. Just over halfway gone in this one, but now Shaver has a chance, and he makes a nice pass out to Sebastian Tinnell. He might get it back here, in on goal. Shaver shoots! What a stick play that was from Mark Lewis. Over to Paquette now, and he can't get it through Joey Haddad. It's there though for Tinnell on the far side. The Devils will escape the zone.
Guys, looking at the Flyers, they made the Final Four last year. With their speed and the scoring threat they possess, you can see them doing it again this year.
Fox forces a good save from Tom Murdy, and Murdy's looking increasingly confident in the Devils' net, guys.
Everyone seems very confident and very loose tonight. It's a really good atmosphere that the Devils have brought to this game. To your point, John, I think the only thing that's going to stop them is the depth issue. They're going to come up against teams that can roll 4 lines and 4 quality lines, and it's just whether they can keep up that gas. But it's only 4 games.
It's only 4 games, and you look at Shane Owen, he looks like the type of netminder that can win them a game. So certainly I wouldn't be surprised to see them in Nottingham again.
That one gets sent back in by Tom Muir, and they'll get a battle there. Andrew Hotham, well, it's just a bit of a shove, so it isn't called in the end. It was Ryan Dingle who felt the force of Hotham there. The Devils will get out of the zone though, and Guy Doucette thinks he might have a chance here, but Dingle has got good speed as well and gets there first. That's a good hustle from Guillaume Doucette, who puts a nice bump in Kyle Haynes there as well and helps the Devils turn the puck over. Matthew Myers there went over to Andrew Hotham. He's looking for a lead pass, but it was a little bit too Hollywood in the end. And here comes Ryan Dingle. He's got Siska back post, but it was well blocked by Mark Richards. Still a chance for the Flyers. They shoot. What a save, Murdy. Another fine save from Tom Murdy. That's his best all night. What a save with the right pass.
Wow, he tracked that puck all the way, and for all the love and money in the world, you thought that the Flyers were going to get on the board. But Tom Murdy tonight has shown exactly why he was signed at the beginning of this season, to be that number 2 goalie for the Cardiff Devils, to give Ben Bounds all the opportunity in the world to know that he could rely on his goaltending partner, Bordeleau, with a little tap there.
It's just how quickly he gets up and down, because when you think on that first save, he's already in almost a prone position there, making the save to the chest area. He gets back up, he gets back down, he makes a strong pad save. He's one of the quickest goalies I've seen in the league, and really we don't have a 1 and 2 so much in Cardiff. It's more of a net mining tandem.
Icing is waved. Well, it was waved off by one member of the officials, and it was called by the other. So, what are you going to do? Todd Kelman there.
Todd Kelman saying, "You love this stuff, Alex, don't you?"
Yeah, well, you know, I play drums, so I must love Guns N' Roses. Especially this song, which I haven't heard 10 million times like everyone else. Here's James Isaac, shoots it in, but saved out front again. The Devils collapse well in front of Murdy, and away they'll go with David Bryan over the blue line. He's got Josh Batch going to the net. Patrick Bullough, shot fired in from Piggott as well. Still there, Josh Batch with a try. What a save that time from Owen, I think, who just managed to get something on it. Now it's there for David Bryan, and Josh Batch wants to go here, but the Devils still have the puck fired in. It was a good blocker save, and we are going to get a whistle here, and is it going to be about against both men?
No, just Batch, I think, holding the stick.
Schoon. Schoon actually got the penalty on that for holding.
Really?
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, well, referee Mike Hicks has certainly better judgment than I do and a better view than I do. For my money, Schoon was just getting pushed continuously there.
Perhaps he was getting pushed because he was holding the stick.
Perhaps.
And I didn't see it, so I'm just hypothesizing based on the call. So apparently Dave Newton, of course, who we wish well as well in his recovery from a fall, a nasty break to his ankle. Usually the goal judge at one end, some man, and he's cited me as being the person who's drunk doing this. So there we are. Not the first time I've been called as the drunk when I'm the only sober person, but. Remember it happened in a Wales A game at the racecourse in Wrexham when I went to watch, and I was down the Cop End there, and went to watch with some friends of mine, and yeah, perhaps we were younger than 18, and I've never drunk, of course, as you gentlemen know, but good group of friends here who had a couple of drinks and sort of got a mixture into the ground that looked like Coca-Cola but certainly wasn't, and apparently I was the one that was the most intoxicated on the report.
Have you considered taking up drinking to get rid of these allegations?
There we go. Ice hockey. Offside here. It's delayed, so Russ Moyer will collect for the Fife Flyers without any pressure on him.
If you did want to take up drinking, probably Dave Newton's got some tips for you.
Chase Shaver looks to pull a move there. What a good save again from Tom Murdy. As
get well soon, Dave.
Andrew Lord goes into the zone, and Russ Moyer will take it away. I'm glad we got a nice bit of hockey action there just to get us back to the game. Out front, what a good save again from Tom Murdy. Brendan Brooks, I don't know what he's done to offend Murdy, but he's been robbed about 4 times tonight.
Well, we see another short-handed chance from the Flyers as well, Alan. You mentioned how many goals they've had. You can see why.
Absolutely. Scott Hoffman gets that one down low. The Devils, not their best power play of the evening, certainly, but they might still, well, no.
You want to bring up the Flyers' speed again, because certainly from all the teams in that conference, including conference winners.
In on goal is Lane Ulmer, who fires, and it couldn't find a way through Shane Owen.
Including much celebrated conference winners Braehead Clan. Fife Flyers are certainly the fastest team in that conference, and that's why I think when you factor in the Kokodi factor, Fife are going to be a match for any team in the playoffs.
I can only look forward to the celebrations here should the Devils wrap up that conference title next weekend. I'm sure it'll outweigh anything we've seen from the 2 championship wins they've had so far. They might find a way here to get another as Gleason Fournier sends it through, and it was well blocked out front. Here's Gleason Fournier again. Over to Joey Haddad, who... That was a laser from Haddad there, went by the right post of Shane Owen, and the Flyers will return to full strength now. John, are you looking forward to that conference title potential for that next weekend?
I love winning anything, Alex, so the conference title is the next on the list.
Doucette out front, they score! What a play! Matthew Myers, then Guillaume Doucette with a heads-up play, and the Devils go 3-0 up.
Chris Culligan there coming in at the back door, and if there ever has been a role player for the Cardiff Devils this year, Chris Culligan along with David Bryan, certainly that man. Excellent in defence, excellent as a forward. Guillaume Dufset wins the battle on the half-boards, throws a lovely pass in front of the net, and Culligan times his drive to the net to perfection. A one-touch finish, and it's a 3-0 hockey game for the Cardiff Devils. And at the moment, they seem to be celebrating winning this Elite League Championship in absolute style.
They put a real exclamation point onto this weekend, John, and this Ice Arena Wales crowd couldn't have asked for anything better.
7th league goal of the season for Chris Culligan. Might be another chance. Culligan shoots again, almost had 2 in under a minute. Batch will fire, well saved from Owen as he comes under pressure there for the Devils. But, you know, we said perhaps there's not too much, well, there isn't anything on the line tonight in terms of the league, of course. The Devils having wrapped up the championship in Sheffield last night. But it's important to keep that winning habit.
Absolutely, you can't turn form on and off like a radio. So if the Devils get into a little bit of a slump, you know, taking their foot off the gas and losing a couple of games, you can get into a habit. So I think that's an absolutely correct point, that the Devils, okay, they could have enjoyed being champions for the next couple of weeks, but when it comes to game time, you wouldn't expect anything else from an Andrew Lord team other than being ultra professional.
And you have to think that the Belfast Giants aren't coming in to Ice Arena Wales next week for 2 games and coming and having going to be rolling over and having their bellies tickled. They're hurt because they really thought at times this year that they were going to chase this league title down, and they want to lay a marker for the playoffs and beyond, that there's still an organisation up there at the top of the Elite League table.
They also want to finish above the Sheffield Steelers, of course, so playoff position all important next weekend.
And to prove us wrong, that any side that finishes above the Steelers is league champions. That was the view we held throughout the season, so I think that would be the biggest travesty of that, actually, if we were to be proved wrong.
I didn't think about that.
So we've got less than 5 minutes to go in the second period here, and we apologise if it's felt like an eternity. As the Devils turn that over again, and it was almost
obviously not watched our coverage before.
Indeed, it was almost Bordeaux-esque there, the way Jones got rid of that puck. But Tom Murdy will cover. In fact, now we are 5 seconds under 4 minutes left in this period. Have we seen a genuine fight here behind us? No. Off the ice.
Possibly it's a Kelman-Raps matchup here. Kelman wanted a replay. Raps wasn't there, and these 2 guys look like they're going to go.
So if you want to hurt Todd Kelman, you deny him a replay. Hit him where it hurts. Jones out front, what a fine save. A point-blank save again from Tom Murdy, and the Devils will go again. They lead 3-0, but they've got Tom Murdy to thank for that scoreline by and large. So while they've dominated the zone time here, Murdy has had to make some fine saves in this one. It could have been a different story had he not.
And it's very important, actually, that from here on in that they pay him back a little bit and protect him as much as possible, because he's held up his end of the bargain, and now the guys in front of him just need to hold up theirs.
Al, I think you referenced this point a few weeks ago with Thomas Murdy. Hopefully he stays in Cardiff, but does a Milton Keynes, does a Guildford start looking at Thomas Murdy and follow that model of having a British netminder?
Here's Ryan Dingle looking for a chance, sends it through, but again, the Devils have been so good at blocking shots, and away they go here. I think that's a great point, John, and, well, because it's my own. Martin now. Might be a chance. How did it miss from Patrick Astley, and the puck will stay in play? We'll come back to that point that John made in the break. It is certainly a good talking point. I'm sure Gaz will want to come in on that as well. Here's Lane Ulmer, but he gets it taken away by Rick Jackman. Still there for the Devils, though, if they can make it work, and it's turned over again, this time by Russ Moyer. Lane Ulmer will send it down. Big bump comes in. That's a fair play from Russ Moyer there, though, away from the boards. Still there for the Devils. Here's Gleeson Fournier. Fournier to Lane Ulmer. Ulmer with a nice move inside, dangles, and Shane Owen will cover. But that was a nice shift to watch. Not good enough, though, to take our attention away from the previous conversation. I think it's an excellent point, John. I think certainly from what we've seen from Tom Murdy, Gaz, he could do that job, and for a club coming into the league, maybe one of the Gardner sides as well, to allow for that extra import.
I wouldn't, if I was a Milton Keynes or a Guildford, I wouldn't go for it. I think Manchester, as a team who an extra import skater could cause havoc in their rink, they could maybe a lot of options there to really maximise what they can get out of their ice pad. I would say definitely a Manchester Storm should be looking at Thomas Murdy, but like, from a selfish point of view, I hope he stays in Cardiff.
Big save there from Shane Owen. He's worked hard for the Fife Flyers. You can absolutely see him winning a playoff series. Such a high caliber goaltender as well that Todd Dutiem has built his team on. When you look at the resume of Shane Owen before he came into this league.
And I did before the game, Aled. A great ECHL experience. Fantastic save percentage and a real backbone of any team he plays on.
Beautifully summed up there. So we got just over a minute left, and well, just a bit of a cuddle really over on the far side, or a cwtch behind the capital of Wales. And it's good to see that, well, why not? Away comes Mark Richardson now, into the zone, and he got hit beautifully there on his way in, and he'll get to go back to his position. And Luke Piggott just tries to answer a little bit there with some physical play as the Devils have a fourth line shift on the ice, 50 seconds left in the second. And we get another tussle along the boards. Josh Batch will just go back, and it's just been played in fits and starts this game, isn't it? Just mostly played at a bit of a low tempo, but now and again something just happens that gives us some excitement. Here's Fox though, and he just got caught up in his skates, and what an intelligent play from Tom Murdy, who made a good save again. Brendan Brooks sends it in. There's 25 seconds left, and we'll stay with the play. It was Haynes who jumped down low, but he gave up some room there, and Sean Bentivolio can go. Fanucci is covering on D. Bentivolio makes a play to Joey Martin. Andrew Lord is off the bench. Here is Joey Martin. 8 seconds left on the period. Martin will get it to Mark Lewis, who might find some room here to cut inside. Lewis looks to make a chance, but Shaber will block it. And we got a tussle here again. Moyer and Scott Hotham. A little bit of a face palm from Scott, and Lewis will come in as well. And Russ Moyer's got under the skin of one or two Devils players this evening, and I like that. It's great to see. I'm glad he's come with that competitive edge, but it is the Devils who end the period with a 3-0 advantage, and but for some fine saves from Tom Murdy, it's been a relative canter.
Well, it's been a good game so far. It's been more than perhaps we expected, and credit to the Fife Flyers for bringing that intensity when they themselves don't have an awful lot to play for. And again, I keep referencing it, impressed by their speed. Siska, Dingle, Fox, they all bring quick passage of the puck through the neutral zone, and Tom Murdy's had to be good. But when the Devils need to go up that gear, and perhaps this is why they are champions, when they need to find that extra spark, they have done. And the last man off the ice there is Mark Lewis, and we've paid tribute to him a lot this season, but I think it deserves referencing again. When the games get bigger, he just plays to an absolutely impeccable standard. And last night in Sheffield, he could have challenged Andrew Lord for man of the match. His physical response to the Steelers, how he created separation from the puck, particularly on a guy like Guillaume Debienne. Mark Lewis was absolutely imperious last night.
In that first period, John, last night, he just put down a marker, I felt, didn't he? He just said, particularly within his own zone, he just said, especially what happened the week before in Sheffield as well, where the Steelers did control the game physically, they did get in the face of the goaltenders, and I thought, while you can talk about that early goal from Mark Richardson, and you can talk about the zone time the Devils had and the face-off wins which are crucial to that game last night, I thought Mark Lewis's presence in his own zone, it's exactly the kind of presence the Devils have wanted really, perhaps for many a year. I think Trevor Hendricks filled that role very well on the small ice for those couple of seasons as well, I might add. But you look at the way the Devils defensemen handle the puck as well, particularly the way they build that pressure on the blue line, the way they can handle the puck and keep the puck in the zone as well, and both ends of the ice, there's so much quality there.
Absolutely, and you know, I was enamoured with the play of Mark Lewis from pretty much day one against Meflishik Zagreb all those months ago, and it was clear I think to everyone that the reason Trevor Hendricks, the difficult decision was made to not re-sign him was because they had found Mark Lewis, and he was in his skating ability and puck handling an upgrade, but he also brought that tough, hard-nosed edge to the back end as well. Mark Lewis for me has to be one of the earliest meetings that Andrew Lord has to try and tie him up for next season, because I just think that a player like that is 10 a penny in the Elite League. You got a Zach Fitzgerald, I think, is the closest to him for me.
He's not 10 a penny.
Because if they were 10 a penny, there'd be
Yeah,
numerous.
well, you know, it's been a long
He's
season.
a rarity.
It's for the highlights, sorry, please.
We started on August the 13th, folks.
Look at all those pucks.
So here we go with some highlights, and of course we see Patrick Bordelow finishing a hit there and getting some retribution on Thomas Muir.
Again, we never have any idea what's coming up on these highlights. So if you'll forgive the momentary pauses while we all work out what on earth is happening.
And consider our features.
Sometimes they're barely a highlight either.
We will, of course, see a little bit of a net mining clinic, particularly from Thomas Murdy, but Shane Owen as well, as we see Andrew Lord there get a little bit of retribution where he felt he'd been tripped. And Moyer and Lord, well, the linesmen, they got in there early and did their jobs, but it would be nice to have seen that matchup.
Oh, this was the 5-on-3. Well, 4-on-3 it started, then it became 5-on-3, and this was the penalty killing we saw from Andrew Hotham, Martin Richardson, and Joey Martin. 3-star players, but out there killing 5-on-3 and putting the body on the line, Gaz.
Yes, and I think that kind of summed up tonight, hasn't it? Andrew Lord has brought the attitude tonight that you go out and we play the way that we do, and we show that this arena and the wider league why we're champions. And a couple of Murdy saves in there, he could have a highlight reel all on his own as Bordelow himself getting in on the act.
Little toe drag from Bordelow there. Perhaps the first time we've seen it this season.
Absolutely.
He can handle a puck, though.
He can handle a puck, and he was crucial last night in Sheffield, as we see Murdy just absolutely robbed Brooks there, but what a great lead pass it was from Isaacs. But Al, you and I witnessed last night Patrick Bordelow spending a lot of time on the penalty kill, as he has done all season, and he's again another player who's made such a contribution to the Cardiff Devils' title success. Not just that intimidatory presence, some big goals. I remember one at Nottingham, and also some exemplary penalty killing.
Yeah, I mean, he's come in from the NHL, and it would be sort of easy for him to perhaps get a bit miffed that he's playing on the fourth line, but that's a role he's played for a number of years. Yes, he certainly put lots of points up in junior and can play that way, but that's a role that he's most accustomed to, certainly over the more recent part of his career, particularly in the NHL. So it makes sense that he would play it to perfection here.
That
goal.
saucer pass, yeah, sorry, that saucer pass from Joey Haddad. He delays, and then he also has to lift it over the stick, and it's on edge. That puck is on edge, so the control of that puck is absolutely phenomenal. And of course, Asselin, as you say, Al, always so good at finding space.
How impressive there, Murdy staying square to the shooter. He's very good at outweighting shooters, isn't he, as well?
He is, because he trusts that, because he's so quick and he does get up and down so quickly. He does trust himself to make a save and then get back in position. So he can commit to a play, knowing that he's got the ability to get back to make a secondary save. As we see a replay here of the Devils' second goal, and it was Joey Haddad. I thought initially it might have been Scott Hotham, but it was Joey Haddad who deflected that puck.
The credit to Scott Hotham for keeping that puck alive, because at one point it looked like the Flyers had an out there, but Scott Hotham just showing that commitment, as we see a chance there for the Devils after a turnover from Patrick Bordelow.
And the Devils really did start to take control at this stage, and it was again the Ulmer, Haddad, Asselin line who, for my money, for the last 6 weeks, 2 months have been the best line in the country, and as I said, really give that Devils team a secondary scoring threat so they can go with the Joey Martin line. But if you shut that line down, as we see the disallowed goal, you still got to face Olma, Asselin and Haddad, and that for me has been the crucial difference from 12 months ago.
Yeah, this is a good chance. I felt like maybe the drop pass could have gone to the trailer Dingle there, but it's good defensive work though.
This is the best save of the night, as you rightly called, Al. He has to make that first save in the bread basket, and maybe we might get another look at that later, but he makes the first save in the bread basket, and then he has to get himself up, lateral movement right across the net, and make that strong pad save. That was a thing of beauty from Thomas Murdy.
Yep, and then that's a bit of hockey played in the corner, and then a goal.
Beautifully called there.
If only I'd called it like that at the time, John.
Actually, I didn't actually give Matthew Myers the credit he deserved here.
I did.
You did, and that's why you're in the job you are, and I sell
No,
popcorn.
I was just making sure that between us, we'd given him
Indeed. But it's great recycling of the puck from Matthew Myers there. Doucette, a little bit of time, and what a great pass that was to Culligan, who just comes in on the back door and fires it home. And, you know, what can you say about Aled Lloyd's commentary?
Well, I'm drunk, apparently. Please don't invite people to comment on my commentary, John. This is not going to end well.
We'll have better luck with the dog photos.
Oh, that was still my highlight of the season. Forget your league championships. And I only feel sorry for every other fan base in the league, bar the Edinburgh Capitals fans who haven't been able to partake in the pet photos.
If anyone's got Photoshop ability, I'd like to combine the two. I'd like to have dog photos with the league title.
I'm going to take a short break, gentlemen. I don't know about you two. I need to go and see the IceTime.TV HR team, so I'll be back shortly.
We've been told to shut up, really. John, have you got anything to add?
No.
Okay. Unusual. Okay, we'll be back for third period action coming up in just a few minutes, well, a little more than a few minutes, and it's 3-0 Devils, as you can see on your screens. We'll be back in a bit.
And we're back for third period action here. The Flyers go straight in, and Murdy picks up where he left off in periods 1 and 2 with a save early in the third. Gareth Hewish alongside Aled Lloyd and John Donovan, and we are 19 minutes and 48 seconds away from what I guess is the main event of tonight, the Devils lifting the Elite League trophy here at Ice Arena Wales. But the Flyers do have this time to try and put a dent in the celebrations. They are 3-0 down, but they have carved out numerous chances which suggest that this game is not over yet. Icing call on the play, and the puck comes all the way back up into Murdy's zone.
Well, what an electric start to this third period, John.
I'm more interested in the conversation going over my left-hand shoulder where Todd Kelman with Chris Aglin are planning out how to present the trophy. Much like a Stanley Cup event.
Well, it was, I believe it was Mr. Aglin who brought the trophy back from Sheffield in his car last night. I hope it was seat belted.
Bertovolio with a chance, and that's flashed wide. Of course, we would offer the trophy the week before in Sheffield to see if we wanted to bring it back. But that's a finish right there. And it's Shaver who's been a thorn in the Devil's side all night. And he flashes it past Murdy, and the Flyers get on the board, 3-1.
Beautiful release from Shaber on that goal. I think Thomas Murdy maybe overcommits to the pass. He doesn't expect the shot from Shaber and leaves a little bit of room on that near post on the short side. And Shaber just finds it going top shelf. So Murdy, who's been so good tonight, maybe would just criticize himself for overplaying that and committing himself to the pass. But credit to Shaber, he hit the blue line at speed, released a bullet of a shot into the top corner, and the Flyers certainly do have life in this game.
19th goal of the season for Shaber as well in league play, so what an acquisition he's been.
And unfortunately, Thomas Murdy will not come away with a shutout this evening, and his play in some sections would have deserved that. But the Flyers equally have been knocking on the door for the 2 periods, and eventually they get rewarded. And now here's Fox. Batch cuts it out. Goes forward, shot by Culligan, and Owen saves, but it's loose. Not quite sure how that sprang out of his glove quite so dramatically, but it did. And now Josh Batch goes to clear it up for the Cardiff Devils. Good stretch pass. Joey Haddad fires it around towards the blue line, and Mark Lewis makes the stick check, but it breaks for the Flyers. And can they get a second here? They turn and fire, and it will go out of the zone. Wands can't keep it in. And now come the Flyers once more. Play across the blue line and can't put it away. Wands once more plays it in behind Murdy.
The Devils have started slowly, and of course they have had the emotion of this weekend and winning the title last night, and you just wonder whether they thought this game was won.
Bordelot plays that puck towards Haddad, who tips it forward, and the Devils show that they still have attacking intent in this game. Bryan. Andrew Hotham. Andrew Hotham on the backhand, and he scores! And so many times this season, Andrew Hotham has been the best player on the ice, and right there, he showed all the poise and skill that he possesses and puts the Devils 4-1 up.
Well, last year he won defensive MVP of the league. This year, I think he could be a strong candidate for league MVP as a whole. Again, you have to reference back to Sheffield last night. Andrew Hotham dictated play so often, and on that play we see all the skills of Andrew Hotham, driving in from the outside, going to his backhand and slipping it through the 5-hole. He's a tough, rugged defenseman who's got silky skills to go with it, and how lucky we are to have him in Cardiff.
10th league goal of the season. He's over a point a game, over 50 points in the league, and he's second in scoring for the Devils as well.
Huge hit coming in from Bordelot. And Ice Arena Wales always responds to those.
And guess who it was on?
Bordelot has a chance there to score, and that's a good save by Owen. Batch plays it down low.
It was Thomas Muir.
I thought it was a rhetorical question, sir. Josh Batch now.
When Bordelot makes a hit, we've talked about it this season, but that NHL class of hit we've only really seen from him and Cam Jansen last season in Nottingham. It's just on a different level, isn't it, to what we see from most players at this level.
And there was a time period through this season after a possible contentious calls when hits against Belfast and Braehead were judged to have been illegal, when maybe replays showed that they were.
Well, yeah, he got suspended for 2 clean hits, didn't he?
And there was a time where I think those hits came back a little bit, and Bordeaux turned a little bit passive. And this will be a too many men call here, I believe. And the Devils will return to the power play.
Guys, just to go back to Bordeaux, I wasn't in the building that night, I was stuck on honeymoon. But Patrick Bordelow's season really came alive in that Coventry Blaze game over Christmas, where he really pulled the Devils by lifting the intensity, pulled them by the scruff of the neck, and got a comeback victory against the Coventry Blaze, and that was all important.
Absolutely, I think that was the time where Bordeaux sort of took it for himself to become a leader on this team. And as we see Jeff Hutchins take exception to that too many men call.
He's furious.
He's a competitor,
Livid.
Jeff Hutchins.
No, he is. And it's good to see that kind of passion at this point in the game at 4-1. And again, a game where, in terms of points, there's not a lot on the line for both of these sides. But Dutiem and Hutchins, they want that intensity from this side going into those playoffs. And the Fife Flyers are going to be a threat, whoever they play.
The playoffs are wide open with the small format. You'd always say that the league champions are favourites, but anything can happen with that's a great finish right there from Scott Hotham on the one-timer, and that goal from the Flyers at the beginning of the period has galvanised the champions, and they're now 5-1 to the goods.
It's a beautiful goal from a guy who's been key on the power play all season, Scott Hotham. Usually we see him getting shots through from the blue line. This time he's down low. And it's the work by Lane Ulmer behind the net. Returning tonight, Lane Ulmer, who has been so good since Christmas. Such great playmaking ability. Sees Hotham free, and the one-time finish goes top shelf.
He's his 5th of the season in league play, John, and Scott Hotham's got that in the locker, hasn't he? So often he's providing the assists from the blue line with those intricate passes that he does, but I believe he scored a one-timer against the Flyers way back in September when the two teams played here as well, so he likes playing against Fife.
Doucette is there on the backhand, and Owen is equal to it on that occasion. Matthew Myers with the great feed across.
And while John is just doubting himself for a moment, wondering how on earth I've got a better memory on something than he has, it's because that's been the promo video the Devils have been using for this game.
Research.
Do you think that, are you surprised that Owen was kept in at this stage? Or has he deserved to stay in? How do you read that?
Well, he hasn't done anything particularly wrong. Maybe one more goal might see him off, but as we see a replay on the big screen of Patrick Bordeaux finishing that hit on Thomas Muir, and of course that just adds to the celebratory feel amongst this crowd. But the Flyers were very much in this game around about 3 minutes ago when it was at 3-1 and Shane Owen was making saves and the Flyers had life. The Devils have responded very well, but maybe one more goal and we might see Craig Douglas come in relief.
Andrew Hotham. Culligan. Matthew Myers to Doucette. Doucette turns. Myers finds Scott Hotham on the point. Can he get a second? He can't. The good save from Shane.
Olay's in the building, John, there. But, I mean, the Flyers have come to play tonight. The Devils have put 5 goals on them so far with just over 14 minutes left in the third. That's impressive.
It is, but I don't know. I haven't had a feel-good feeling with the Cardiff Devils crowd like this and the Olays. You go back to the Wales National Ice Rink and those championships won, and I remember the old Block 18, I think it was Block 18 crew, used to do the Ayatollah, and
here come Fife. Shot comes in on Murdy, but it hits the side of his net and goes wide.
The Devils have enjoyed a lot of positives, particularly over the last 3 years, but there's just a very, very special feeling about tonight. This is 20 years in the making.
There's Josh Batch, who once again just glides his way through to the offensive zone and This time he went for a pass rather than shot as he did last week, but now here is a shot and it's taken a couple of deflections. Owen saves. Deflected by Bordelot from a wide angle. Here's Bordelot again. Brine. Piggott. Bordelot. Bordelot's waiting for support and doesn't get it, and now the Flyers can skate out. And Fanucci it was, who couldn't get past Fournier. Fournier again cuts it out off the boards to Lord. Lord's tip forward to Bentivoglio. Pass cut out, neutralised by Thinnell. Cut out by Lord, and maybe we're going into the scrappy period of this game now.
That trophy's still behind us. Are they not doing anything with it, or?
You're presenting it, John.
I'm taking it home. The wife's in the spare room tonight.
Ulmer. Ulmer shoots, and that goes wide. The Dad's pass all the way around to Richardson. That's Asselin. Asselin out in front, but it's been taken over, and it's finished with aplomb, and the Devils are rampant here in Ice Arena Wales.
And it's great work by Asselin down low, feeding the puck to Lane Ulmer, who set up the last goal for Scott Hotham. This time, it's he who's in the right place and fires it over the shoulder of Shane Owen, who's still staying in net at the moment. But Gaz, you called it in commentary. What great work by Patrick Asselin. Another one on the cast of heroes. The best photographer in the Elite League, as he's commonly known. Of course, he took that season off last year. We thought he would take time to get going this year. He's been stellar since the first puck drop. He sets up Lane Ulmer there, and Lane Ulmer buries the biscuit.
17th of the season for Lane Ulmer in the league.
Flyers now get into the zone. They throw it on net, and Murdy makes the first save. The second shot goes wide. Lane Ulmer, of course, was brought in the summer to add that veteran presence, to take the pressure off of Joey Martin as being another star centerman. And while there was a period where him and Bentivoglio, Al, maybe were trying too hard to get each other's season going, since that breakup, Ulmer has been on a tear.
Yeah, Asselin and Haddad got the assist on that goal. Absolutely, it's been one of the key factors, I think, for the Devils this season. Gaz, is the fact the Devils have found that secondary scoring, that second top line, if you will, spearheaded by Lane Ulmer at centre, and it's meant that it's such a different challenge for sides that don't have to just shut down the Joey Martin line this season. It's been a big factor.
Bright to Scott Hotham. Batch. Batch on the backhand, and it's still loose, and Owen eventually gobbles it up.
Great drive to the net from Josh Batch. We know he's got that in his locker. We saw it last week. The great skating ability, the puck handling, the size. And Patrick Bordelot almost forces that home, but it's a great compete level from Shane Owen there. You sense, guys, that these Cardiff Devils fans are going to enjoy the next 10 minutes, 52 seconds. They know that this game is won. They know the title is won. And they're getting ready to party. The Champioles chants, the We Are Number One chants. It's a full crescendo from these Cardiff Devils fans.
Because it should be noted that the league has gone to the last weekend, the last 2 seasons. It's such an achievement in itself that the Devils have wrapped it up with 3 to go, and it's, I believe it'll take it to 7 points with a win tonight at the top of the league. It just goes to show what worthy champions the Devils are And it goes to show why this crowd is going to enjoy every second of these last 10 minutes and 10. In behind the net, as in more goals to come. Scott Hotham finds Bordelow. Back to Scott Hotham, he's on his own a little bit, and eventually too many white jerseys around him. Long stretch play now. Scott Hotham has Lord up with him. He also has Benevolio, but he's also got space, and I think he was caught in two minds whether to pass or shoot there. Lord. And that's come out of the zone.
Of course, every Devils player is important. Every Devils player has skill in abundance. But maybe at this stage, do you start to see Joey Martin and Andrew Hotham just staying on the bench, or are they sheer competitors and want to be out there? It might be a time for certain guys to take the night off.
That's a rebound shot that's gone way over. There's a chance there. It was Siska. And maybe he'd be disappointed he didn't hit the target from that area. Devils have to play their way out of trouble, but now they keep it in at the blue line. It's Ulmer. Siska, and that's offside.
Gaz, I'm going to throw a question at you that you throw at Todd Kalman earlier. What do you think was the key moment, key turning point of the season? You guys were in Belfast when I missed that trip. Was that the weekend where the league was not won, but what do you think has been the standout moments of the season?
I certainly think that Belfast weekend was the weekend where everyone believed that the Devils were outright favourites and that it was maybe the Devils to lose. For me personally, the game where I thought that things felt different and that it was clear that the Devils were meant business was the Sheffield game here, where Gleeson Fournier scored that late power play goal. Zach Fitzgerald sitting for 6 minutes at the end for 3 consecutive cross checks, and I think that game there, where it felt that Sheffield even believed that it was a different prospect, set the tone as Murdy makes the save there off of a tight angled shot. But that was the weekend for me where it all felt a little bit different.
Al?
I think it was that third period in Belfast on the Friday night. For me, that was not the point where it felt different. I think that certainly came earlier in the season, Gaz. But I think the key moment in the perhaps the big thing that set up this league title victory, the big moment that it felt as though it was the Devils then to lose almost, was the way that that galvanising performance in the third period in Belfast, which will go down as one of the greatest periods in Cardiff Devils hockey history. I think the way they turned that 3-0 deficit around to win that game 4-3, and for me that was a moment. Not only
Flyers now on the backhand, and Murdy covers it up.
Not only that where it sort of won the championship for the Devils, really, but I think it was also the moment that Belfast had lost the championship as well, and it was certainly it was the Devils' performance that won it out in the end there, but that was the real turning point in the season. And I think as the belief grew for the Devils, it eroded in Belfast.
Face-off win for Fife, and the shot is blocked as Fournier has ice to skate into. Brooks. Tussle at center ice, and it falls there to Moyer. Devils will chip that in. And it's called offside. I thought Jones had managed to get himself back on, but linesman has different thoughts.
What's your analysis of that whistle there, John?
Clear, succinct, everything a whistle needed to be, Al.
Devils on the rush. Fournier. Here's Chris Jones to company. Fournier with a shot, but it doesn't get to Owen in net. And now here come the Flyers. Cut out though, and now the Devils try to get a rush going again, but Fox stops that. It's a 2-on-1 for the Flyers. Donnell is there. Donnell tries to pass it back across, and Mark Lewis has to do his best to keep it out. He's now sat on top of Lewis trying to make the save, and I think between them they've kept it out.
Well, there's parts of Mark Lewis's body that are over the line, but he's not going to get off that puck for love nor money until he somehow manages to get it back the other side of the goal line, and just great commitment from Mark Lewis. There's 6:35 left in a game that doesn't have a lot on it. The Devils are winning 6-1, and Mark Lewis still wants to make that goal-saving play. And it was nice work by the Flyers in the zone, and I thought Tunnell was going to take the shot on. He didn't. He went cross-crease again, looking for the tip-in, but Mark Lewis somehow manages to freeze that puck and prevent the Flyers adding to their total.
John, have you got any news of any injuries around the league tonight?
Oh, the Sam Gummer injury report. Yes, not that I've heard. I can confirm the trophy is disappearing behind us as Katrina Williams, a stalwart of the Cardiff Devils back office, takes it down, ready for the presentation. And I feel a sense of loss, but hopefully he'll be back with us very soon.
Shot comes in from another tight angle.
Sorry, Alec, can I
Really
just
makes
confirm, sorry guys, for the next 6 minutes 32 seconds, you usually just throw me under the bus at every opportunity.
I know, I was actually going to say, I think you have got a partial claim to that league championship, because over the past 3 years, at every given opportunity, you've taken that opportunity, that privileged position that we're in, to remind Coach Lord and any other player that will listen that the league title is the be-all and end-all in British hockey. So I think you've got a claim to some of that part of that silverware.
Lovely backhand attempt pass there was from Paquette, who's really in this third period tried to surge forward as much as possible. Piggott. Martin, he can't collect, but he does manage to keep possession. I guess that answers your question, John, as to whether they're going to sit and have a rest. It doesn't look like it. Looks like a quick, clear rotation of all lines.
Well, I guess hockey players want to play, and they want to be on the ice to remember this this moment. It doesn't happen every year, so I wondered whether certain players might be wrapped in cotton wool, but no, they're ready to go and they want to celebrate this moment.
Owen covers up, 5:34 left in the third.
John, what was the score in that game during that season before the new ownership took over against Belfast that we called that midweek one?
Was it 11-5, something like that?
Gaz, you didn't have the pleasure of calling that game, so it's only fair that now over this last 10 minutes you've had to try and carry this thing through.
It's worse for me, I had to watch it.
Had to listen to us. Howard's camera work was fantastic that night, though.
I like the reference from Andrew Lord in his speech to the fans last night, though, where he talked about where the club had come from, and he referenced getting beaten up by Jeff Swears and co in Belfast.
I also like how he finished that description. There were so many things he could have listed. He just finished it with yada yada. Like, if I wanted to list everything that went on that season, we'd be here for another 3 hours.
That's a book in itself. Brendan Brooks, as the music continues around Ice Arena Wales, as the players try and play here. There's certainly a party atmosphere on this shift. There's a tip in front, and finally it ends. Puck battle in the corner, and it's the Devils who lose out in the end. Fanucci with excellent work. Puck played right there, Murdy makes a great save. Right out in front of him, and well, I usually ask you guys for your man of the match suggestions, but I think I'll forego it and we'll just agree that it's Thomas Murdy tonight.
Seconded.
Almer with a shot that's blocked. Fournier. Doucette with a shot. No, he makes the save. And now the main scoreboard.
The batteries run out on the scoreboard.
Well, it has been waiting 20 years for this, so
it's like the Y2K virus. Now it's showing us know what to do.
Speaking of which, I did get a Chris Jericho reference into my closing remarks on the final buzzer of the title win last night, Gaz, which I'm sure you'll look forward to hearing.
Certainly will. Always a joy to get a wrestling reference in commentary.
And then John followed it up then as well. He repeated the line later on. So Chris will be thrilled.
refresh my memory.
Drink it in, man. I didn't say man. It wasn't intentional. It shows subliminally how.
Absolutely. We're brothers in arms, Al. You know that.
Lewis with the pass to Fournier off the boards, and Fournier returns the favour, and now the Devils try to get out, but I think this game is
barely a game.
It's Muraban now. Siska lays it out, and that's another good defensive play. Fournier's pass forward is loose, and I think the Devils just want to get celebrating here, and Fife are still knocking at this door.
What a play by Josh Batch on the back door there, clearing it away when Thomas Murdy was prone as Siska fans on that shot.
Another chance here, another save from Murdy as Brooks. And Brooks has to feel like he should have had about 3 or 4 goals tonight. Bordelow with a pass to Jones. Jones tries to find Bordelow and can't. Good body position by Bordelow to make sure that the Devils had a chance to collect that puck, and now here he is again.
And just quickly, if you are unfamiliar with the definition of the word moribund that Gaz just used to describe this game, I urge you not to look through a dictionary, but to do yourself a favour and look up an old episode of Knowing Me, Knowing You with Alan Partridge, and his explanation of the word moribund there will serve you well, and it's far more entertaining than looking in a dictionary. And that will be my final contribution for the game. I didn't hear a word of that.
Don't worry, Al, I got it. 2 minutes 13 seconds.
It's my headphones, that's the problem.
2 minutes 13 seconds left on this game clock, and forgive me for being sentimental, but I'm just going to quote off the names of Steve Moria, Paul Heavey and Mike Ware, former Cardiff Devils captains who have lifted the league trophy.
Blocker save it was from Murdy, and my oh my, what a night that young man has had in net.
And what a night Jake Morissette is about to have, lifting the Monteith Bowl to become the 4th captain in Cardiff Devils history to lift a league championship trophy, and this place is going to go wild. And if I may just momentarily, bit corny, but my dad watches all these webcasts and he introduced me to hockey, and I just wanted to give him a shout out and hope he's enjoying it at home, because I know how special it'll be to him.
It has been a special season in that regard, John, and I have to say it's my niece's first year as a season ticket holder, along with my brother who introduced me to hockey. It was my first full season that I got to see a league win as well. I hope she doesn't have to wait 20 years for the next one like I did. But it has been special like that as well. My girlfriend's first full season watching this sport as well. She's watching in Essex tonight. It's just those sort of connections that have made this season such a special one, and we've been extremely lucky to be able to have called all this action at home this year, as this crowd are on their feet. They know what is about to happen as Doucette can't get a shot away.
And Ado, the producer, would just like to give a shout out to John Jones, the man who was behind the BT sponsorship and he came on board as a club ambassador when Todd Kelman and the ownership group took over this club, and he introduced Ado to hockey. We've all got our stories, we've all got our backstories, and that's what's going to bring all these Cardiff Devils fans together tonight. 30 seconds left before 20 years of hurt comes to an end.
And John, just very quickly, I'd just like to go through the similarities between this year and last year. Brothers on the team, a British goaltender, an Italian Canadian, all the echoes were there when this team was put together, but you have to action it. You have to be the best. As Murdy makes another save, you have to see it out. You have to win the big ones, and you get your rewards. And that clock hits 0, and the rewards are about to be dished out as emphatically the champions of British ice hockey have put their stamp on this game. They leave 6-1 winners against the brave Fife Flyers as this crowd gets ready to see what they've come here to see. Jake Morissette lifting the trophy above his head, but it's another 2 points in the bag. It's a 7-point gap between first and second. It's the champions, the Cardiff Devils, ringing out winners here in Ice Arena Wales.
And credit to the Fife Flyers. They made this an entertaining game tonight. As we've referenced all night, they bring speed, they bring scoring ability, and they're going to be a match for anyone in the playoffs. We wish them a safe journey home. Always a club that we are very fond of, and I, for one, am glad the Devils are avoiding them in the playoffs. But I've got to say, from my own personal perspective, I hope to see them at Nottingham.
Absolutely. I hope to take a trip to Kirkcaldy next year as well. I unfortunately missed out on one this year, but I very much look forward to my trips to that rink, that bar, and that atmosphere that is unique in British ice hockey. If you've never witnessed it or experienced it before, you have to. Talking of atmospheres, guys, this crowd is ramping up.
Well, and a night of celebration. Perhaps more nights of celebration to come this season. And if that's not enough, there's going to be Champions Hockey League here to start next season off, guys.
I believe we have our delicate seats for the draw, that we're allowed to sit front and centre there and whoop and holler when we get the draw that we desire.
I believe I'm leaving you in a moment, guys, and obviously the public at home would support that thoroughly, but I am going to try and get down and do some interviews after the presentation as we see Chase Schuber pick up the Man of the Match award. Worked hard all night, defensively responsible forward, brings speed and scored a nice goal, and as we say, wish the Flyers a very safe journey home and wish them luck for the rest of the season. But guys, I'm going to leave you do the trophy presentations, I think, and go down and see if we can get some interviews. But I hope you'll bear with me just as a fan rather than a commentator, as I know it means so much to all of us, just how special this is. And we absolutely admit there was a tear in my eye last night in Sheffield, and it's just been so long waiting for this, but it's made it all the more worthwhile. And I want to thank you guys for being able to commentate with you and share this with you. I want to thank Steve King and all the ownership group, Todd Kelman, Andrew Lord, Neil Francis, Jamie Elson, everybody involved that have just made this such a momentous, memorable season as Andrew Lord celebrates with the crowd. And guys, it's been a privilege, and let's do this again in the playoffs.
We'll see you on the ice, John. And that was actually a tug to the Matska jersey there from Andrew Lord, and that just goes to show that throughout all this sporting achievement, that the impression that Scott Matska left on us, Al, during that My Turn for Matska game way back in October, his words of encouragement and the way that he inspired us all still affect this club, and will do, I think, for many, many years to come.
So many incredible moments this season, Gaz, but the Matchka game here that was held here, perhaps the most incredible of all of them, really. And of course, the league championship, first in 20 years. As Murdy picks up Man of the Match, is a fantastic moment for all these fans, the club, the city, Wales, really, after all the years of hurt. But that was a really inspirational, magical night, and I'm thrilled to see Andrew Lord reference the Scott Matska there and his family, who touched the hearts of everybody here in Cardiff, who attended that night and beyond, and are continuing to do so as well in that fight for a cure and support for those suffering with ALS. And what a magnificent evening that was, and we hope that Scott and his family can relish in this championship win, along with so many of those other past players as well. That I noticed Neil Francis sent a tweet out as well, mentioning so many of the players who came in at the start of this revolution here in Cardiff.
Absolutely, and I have to admit, I'm a little bit that got me in the fields. That Andrew Lord action there. There's a hush around Ice Arena Wales as we wait for this. So the medal presentation will happen first. And Mark Lewis is the first to pick up his medal. We talked about it, Al, just what an upgrade he was on Trevor Hendricks, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark Lewis. And he's one of those players, isn't he, Lewis, as is Matthew Myers as well, winning his umpteenth Challenge Cup this season. He's won so much. Both of those guys have become notorious, really, for playing their best hockey in the big games.
Absolutely, and Matthew Myers finally gets a trophy with his hometown team, a league championship with his hometown team, as David Bryan, a man many said wouldn't make it past halfway of the season.
Oh, one person.
Picks up his second trophy of the season, as does Guy Doucette, who, as his attitude, Al, being in and out of the team these last few weeks, has been exemplary and just sums up the team spirit in that locker room.
Well, Doucette has been a star scorer season upon season. He's been that in Cardiff, he's been that in Nottingham, in Hull. In the second half of this season, he became more a role player, and a role player like David Bryan as well. But you need all those players to buy into the system and do what needs to be done. You look at Chris Jones, who's done that, Mark Richardson up there with Ben O'Connor as the elite British defenceman, and finally for Mark Richardson, that league championship which he so thoroughly deserves. Gave up his testimonial this year, of course, as well, Gaz. So full weight could be put behind the Scott Matska efforts, and we see Lane Ulmer so strong and instrumental in the team's improvements over the second half of the season. Gleeson Fournier, who came in partway through last year and has been unbelievable, and both defensively and offensively in the second half of the season.
In many ways, Fournier's signing was almost built for this year in mind. I think there was a clear idea of the role that the club wanted him to play, which was maybe not totally recognised last year, but this year hit the ground running, and at times was ahead of Andrew Hotham in points getting, which is no mean feat.
And you look at Luke Piggott there as well, who plays such an important role. He's such a key person in the dressing room as well, Luke Piggott, we understand. And Patrick Asselin, Denny Carney. Asselin, who took a year off last season to be with his family and take photos, and came in like he hadn't missed a beat. Denny Carney, who's come into this team and won 2 championships. Andrew Hotham, perhaps the league's best player, certainly the league's best defenseman, and for mine, the most influential player on any game. Joey Haddad, who's perhaps been the Devils' best player in the second half of the season, and tonight's man of the match, Tom Murdy.
Ben Bounds, who takes every bit of criticism against him and drives him forward. He's been the backbone of the last 3 seasons. Listen how popular he is. He's a leader, he's a focal point, he's a poster boy for this team, isn't he?
Yeah, any negativity or criticism makes him stronger, doesn't it? He loves proving people wrong, and he is perhaps the biggest big game player of all. Josh Batch.
Josh Batch is someone again who was here pre-Steve King takeover. He's seen the bad times, he's made the good times even better.
Jake Morissette, the club captain, of course, up until that injury. He's the captain, he's the man who lifts the trophy We're seeing him on skates in his equipment as well for the first time in a long time. The rehab is going well. Chris Culligan, what a job he does for this team. Can play forward, centre, winger, defence, all impeccably. Patrick Bordlow with his young son there. What he's brought to the team this year, that NHL, that marketability as well. And what about Andrew Lord, guys?
Well, you know, we've waxed lyrical about Andrew Lord through the entire time he's been coach here, and I think it goes without saying no one is happier for Andrew Lord than we are that he finally gets his just rewards.
Scott Hotham, the lower profile of the Hotham brothers, but the work he does, I think the calmest player perhaps on the ice, Scott Hotham. He's so calm and assured back there, played much of the season with Josh Batch as well. What a partnership that's been. Sean Benzavolio, who's come in and along with Lane Ulmer elevated their play in the second half of the season. Two winners who won so much in Italy, and they brought that here to Wales as well. Joey Martin,
the league MVP of the last 2 seasons, may well be a league MVP this year as well. He needed the pressure taken off him this year. He had that, and he still maintained his high standards. We see maybe the unsung heroes at the back. Here we get to see this Deese, who doesn't sleep, the amount of work he has to do to get the guys to Scotland and beyond, and Jamie Elson, who has done so much work for Andrew Lord, the support network that Andrew Lord needs to be head coach, his second in command, the man who's in charge of the defence a lot of the times. Jamie Elson will be ecstatic that he gets his hands on the Elite League trophy.
What a classy move from Todd Kelman. It's Neil Francis, perhaps the man who was at the beginning of this change in Cardiff, who helped instigate this change. And Mr. Cardiff Devils, really, Gaz, and he is the man who will present the trophy to Jake Morissette.
Of course, he was in the last team to win this trophy as well, so as a representative of old to new, it is something special. Jake Morissette takes his skate towards the big prize, the prize everyone wanted, the prize that 3 years has built towards. It's been a long road to victory, but tonight the Cardiff Devils lifted above their heads. They are on top of the hockey world once again, and the C on his jersey doesn't just stand for captain, it stands for champion. The Cardiff Devils have done it, and Ice Arena Wales has witnessed it, and it is going to be a party in Cardiff tonight.
What a moment it is. The first time in 20 long years, Gaz, in the 30th anniversary season, the captain, Jake Morissette, who embodies so much about this club. Him and Andrew Lord, great friends of course, came here together. They saw the worst of times, and now they're seeing the best of times in red.
Mark Richardson finally, in Devils colours, gets to lift the league trophy. He must have thought it wouldn't happen. The poor man has been through every ups and downs of the Elite League era in Cardiff. He's won Challenge Cups, but it's that prize that he deserves. Such an exemplary player, a captain, a leader. He must feel on top of the world tonight.
And now Ben Bounds, perhaps the Devils' most important player, lifts the Elite League Championship, the Monteith Bowl. What a player he's been. We heard Todd Kelman say earlier he shouldn't have played last night in Sheffield, but he wanted to go in there and win a championship in his home city and show that he and his team are number one.
And also he's become a spokesperson for the locker room in many ways this season. When he's spoken to us, he's almost spoken on behalf of his team, and they seem very happy for him to do so. You can't really get a C on your jersey as a goalie, but if you could, or an A even, Ben Bounds would be someone you'd look towards maybe.
Lane Ulmer is the next to show off the trophy. He wasn't there last night when the team won it, so fantastic to see him given a go round. He played in the game tonight, So every player has played in the 2 games over the weekend, the one which sealed the trophy, and now the one where the coronation is the conclusion. Joey Martin next.
And what can you say about Joey Martin? He came not with the fanfare of a guy you would expect to be at the top of the league scoring charts, but it was clear from just a handful of games into his Devils career that he was going to be a man who would carry this team on his shoulders. He was also the one in the summer at the start of the unfinished business talk. He was coming into this season convinced that the guys could do it.
And in many ways, his partner in crime, the best forward in the league the last few seasons, now the best defenseman, Andrew Hoffman, who has played perhaps more minutes than any player this season, certainly more minutes than any player, or at least skater in red. He's a leadership player, he's a character player, and he's one of the most skilled players we've ever seen in Wales.
Sean Bentivolio, a man who, after the Challenge Cup final, Al, said to me and you, I don't want to touch the Challenge Cup. I want to wait to touch the big prize, and there it is, in his hands.
And now Guillaume Doucette, we've talked about the character of Doucette this season. Let's not forget he leads the Devils in goals scored in league play this season. And he's played a role in the latter part of the season as well. Listen to those fans, they love him, guys.
He's got a deuce, like a stew. Your legacy lives on, Al.
Got a fantastic assist tonight, of course, as well, didn't he, on the Chris Culligan goal. Here's Joey Haddad. He's developed a cult following in Cardiff as Haddad.
And he marches to the beat of his own drum. He's gone for the opposite way of skating to everyone else.
Another player with his own song.
Yes, indeed. And I do love a good terrace chant for a player.
And now Matthew Myers, his hometown club, to win it here in Wales. He's won championships before, of course, but to win it here in the capital of Wales for his hometown club must be a special moment.
He was, of course, part of the Nottingham team that ended their barren league championship spell, so a bit of a good luck charm, maybe, Matthew Myers.
And Scott Hotham now, we've already talked about how influential he's been. He had a big goal tonight, of course, as well, and what a special moment for every single one of these players. Such a small percentage of players get to lift a trophy in their lifetime and experience this moment.
But it was against Scott Hotham, not just because of the pedigree of him. He was a winner as well. He was coming back to the UK with medals in abundance, as Patrick Bordelow, who said he'd never won anything before the Challenge Cup, now has 2 trophies within a couple of weeks, and he must be ecstatic that his family is here to share this one with him.
And then to the other big man, Mark Lewis. What a tower he's been on defence this season, Mark Lewis. Gets better and better the bigger the games get. Huge last night in the first period against Sheffield, Gaz. Defensively with that physical presence. But he's got some great hands too, and goodness me, as you said, he's got to be high on Andrew Lord's priority list next season.
And a special moment for his fans across the pond as well, who has followed his career to Cardiff live on IceTime.TV. With us as well, Gianna Libby, who's been a big supporter of IceTime, and of course Mark Lewis. She must be ecstatic for him as well. That proves the man he is, to have people follow his career wherever he goes. And Mark Lewis, as we saw from the Challenge Cup video, has a special relationship with trophies.
David Bryan, the ex-NHLer, but what a moment for him to come in here. He plays on a line with another ex-NHLer in Patrick Bordelow to win these 2 championships, the big one here, the Elite League. Won so many face-offs, killed so many penalties this season as David Bryan, and chipped in with valuable points too.
King of the hashtag as well.
Josh Batch, what a moment for him. Given that role on defence by coach Andrew Lord, he's been trusted in key situations as well over the last couple of seasons. GB defenceman now, established GB defenceman Josh Batch. We know his family will be proud. Kevin, his father, a good friend of us on IceTime.TV. What a wonderful moment for them.
And a man, Josh Batch, who was maybe a bit lost before Lord came in, was being used as a forward on a poor third line, and has been galvanised with a defensive berth. As we see Patrick Asselin, I think maybe the photography world will be looked at in the summer as a breeding ground for recruitment, because if you can play the way Patrick Asselin does after not playing for a year, then I think it has to be looked at, because he's been phenomenal. The man can pick a pass from nowhere, thread it through the eye of a needle. What a season he's had.
And now Chris Culligan can play anywhere and does it with aplomb, and really in many ways the heartbeat of this Cardiff Devils side the past few seasons. He's overcome adversity with the injuries as well. He does anything his coach asks of him, and he does it with supreme skill.
Here's Gleason Fournier. He's box office, this guy. He's someone who I feel has really grown into a responsible role as this season's gone on. He is a dynamic defenseman, someone who for the last 18 months has put in the hard work and has got his rewards.
And now Chris Jones, another Welshman, winning a title. So still relatively early in his pro career as well, Gaz. To be part of this team, to have done the job he's done on that fourth line, what a moment for him.
It is extra special when a Welshman gets hold of a prize for this team. Of course, we embrace every player who wears a Devils jersey, but for a kid who used to be in the stands to now stand on that ice as a champion is a special, special moment.
And now Thomas Murdy just allowed the one goal tonight, as Todd Kelman alluded to when Ben Bounds was injured earlier in the season. Won some key games for the Devils. What a difference that could be, and what a difference it could have meant come the end of the season. Those key wins for Thomas Murdy. He's been superb. Great friends, of course, with Ben Bounds coming up through the system, the junior system together. Fantastic moment for those two goaltenders to share.
And here comes the doctor, Luke Piggott, who, well, to be quite frankly, he doesn't have to play ice hockey. The man is a leader in his field in science, but he does play, and he plays to a level which has taken the pressure off of the Cardiff Devils this year. He has played for many years, and again, you just look at someone like that who's come up through the junior ranks, played ENL hockey here in Cardiff to get to this level, the pinnacle of his sport. What a player. And
lastly, Gaz, Denny Carney, who's come into this side. He's made it a better team as well, coming in. That additional import. He was superb against Sheffield last season. Didn't play tonight, but he's going to be so important come the playoff push, no doubt about it, as the team gathers. Jamie Elson now.
And this is what I love to see. Jamie Elson, again, he's not someone who seeks out the limelight, the spotlight. He's someone who is diligent in his work, and him and Andrew Lord together really have come up with the perfect plan for this league.
He said to us after the title win last night, Gaz, he makes no secret about it. It's always been an ambition of him to be involved and play a big part in his childhood club, the club he loves, the Cardiff Devils, and goodness me, he's brought a league championship home.
And here's Deese. He's a popular figure around this rink. He very rarely leaves it. He's a man who puts in more hours than possibly anyone else in the organisation. Again, he won't tell you that, and he won't take those plaudits, but he is someone who takes his cue from this man, the governor, the coach, the man in charge, the man who oozes Cardiff Devils. You know, people have made fun of him for touching that badge on the front of his shirt, say it's not very hockey-like. Well, I don't think he cares. No one else in this building cares. This man loves this club, this fan base. Myself, I'm sure you love this man. We look to have John Donovan down there. He's close to being ready for some interviews, I think. So we're going to get ourselves down to the ice now. And when John's ready, he'll be talking to all of the guys down there. So don't leave the coverage. We will have interviews. I'm sure we'll sign off later, Al, won't we?
Yeah. Why not?
So we're going to get down here. But right now, Jamie Elson is with John Donovan for reaction to this league win.
I'm chasing him. Back on IceTime.TV with league championship winning coach Andrew Lord. And Andrew, I've asked you all season, can I ask you about the league title now?
Yeah, you're allowed, John. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Probably said all this stuff before already. Look at everyone's faces. Look at the players, the fans, the staff. This is what it's all about. And I think Todd Kelman's message today on the website was just perfect, you know. The winning's great, but the way we did it, to a man, everybody involved did it the right way and just put in so much time and effort. And let's face it, there was a lot of stuff said about us all season. Well, the last couple years. Small ice team. We can't do this, we can't do that, we're not fast enough. We're chokers. And, you know, it goes on and on. I could spend all day talking about it. And, you know, the guys, they let it fuel them. And they came to work every single day. Such pros, such professionals. I'm rambling a bit, but it just feels incredible when you put this much time in, and to see it pay off is just great.
I think you're allowed to ramble. It's a special night. You said to me last night it hadn't sunk in yet. You've now got your hands on the trophy. Is it starting to sink in a little?
A little bit. It's still pretty surreal. Last night was strange. We're on the bus, we're having a couple beers, and you get in late and you try to get some sleep, but I was up at, I don't know, probably 7 or 8, and usually get back to bed for a bit of a nap, but there's just no way. The guys were the same, just such a buzz. You're just on cloud 9, and it's truly amazing. There's so many thoughts that go through your head and so many people that you think of, and the messages, you know, we were talking about it today, the messages on Twitter and Facebook and the conversations you have in person.
You a little wet?
That was pretty good. Yeah, that woke me up. I needed that. I was getting a bit tired. But it's incredible. And it drove the guys, the passion from the fans I can't say enough about. And it's just a feel-good factor right now. And I'm just so happy we were able to bring this back to Cardiff finally.
I'm going to let you get back on the celebration. I'm just going to ask you one more time. I asked you last night. This isn't the last time we do this, is it?
John, you got to enjoy the moment, bud. Absolutely not.
Go and enjoy the party, Andrew. Thanks a lot. Now it's on. There we go. We're here with Todd Kelman, who has demanded he comes on camera to celebrate a title success. And Todd, I'm not going to get into trouble. How do you just open that beer?
Yeah, I used the bottom of the trophy to open a beer. I hope nobody saw that.
No, nobody saw it. No one's still watching. The guys are celebrating. We've just spoken to Andrew Lord. He's pretty emotional right now. We spoke to you in a period break. What are the overriding feelings you've got at this moment?
Yeah, you know what, obviously we knew we'd won it. It's kind of anticlimactic, to be honest with you, but it's such a big accomplishment for these guys. You're so proud of them. Like they've done a tremendous job. You know what? You can't say enough about Andrew Lord. How does a guy be that good on the ice and that committed to being that good of a coach? Like, you know, like you think of coaches around the league that have to stay up all night watching video, analyzing things. add on the fact that he has to prepare to play in the top line too. And people last year said, oh, he played himself too much. Lordo tried not playing himself a lot, and I basically said, me and the owner said, you got to play more. Like, if you think about it, we went on a bit of a skid for a while, probably about 6 games, and it was when Lordo was injured. And nobody knows he was injured because he kept it quiet, but he's the key to this team, and you can't say enough about him. He's here as long as I'm here. I'll say that. As long as he wants to be here, and someone will smarten up and someone will come along and pinch him from a better league or something. But for the time being, we're very, very lucky to have him in charge.
Yeah, we all second that on IceTime.TV. You made sure that all the off-ice staff got in that team picture there. People like Chris Ackland, Katrina Williams, Neil Francis, of course, Devils legend. This is really a collective effort.
Yeah, it's good when you can plan it, right? It's like when you can go, but that's the one thing you never want to forget people that it matters to. Like it's very special to me, but it's and I'm not saying it's more important to other people, but I know there are so many people that volunteer their time week in and week out that maybe don't get all the accolades. They just love the club. They love the club unconditionally for whatever reason. They've followed it their whole lives, and they maybe never get to celebrate, and they never get to grab the trophy, and you think, it's a big deal. And so before the game, there was one of the things I said, it goes volunteers, wives, then the team. That's how we're doing this. We're doing the photos, volunteers, wives, and the teams, because the wives put up with a lot of crap, and a lot of 25 moody guys when we lose, and they should be here celebrating as well. So I'm always happy that we can do that for them.
Is this the end of the beginning almost? This is the first stage. The arena's built now. You've got the 2 Challenge Cups. You've got the first league trophy of the new era. That's almost mission complete, and now you start building a legacy for this club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, we wake up tomorrow and we start worrying about the playoffs. That's the funny thing, you know. Like everyone thinks, oh, you're going to celebrate for a week. No. Tomorrow morning, Lordo will probably be watching video, and I'll be in the office trying to sell out the next game. That's just the way we are, right? And that's the way every team is. And we you know, the one thing I'll say is we will take away the pressure and let the guys have a week to relax, and they deserve it. And they deserve to go out and party their butts off tonight, tomorrow. But for me, the next big step. I'm worried about tonight. The next step is we are taking the trophy up to the bar and letting all these fans drink out of it, party with it, celebrate with it. That's where it's going next.
And just finally, you won it with the Bracknell Bees as maybe a 100-to-1 shot. That was pretty special. You dominated the league a couple of years ago as the Belfast Giants and Paul Lady. Where does this rank? Does this, this has got to be pretty special.
It's hard because you never want to take anything away from where you were before. Winning in Bracknell was huge. We were never supposed to win. Winning in Belfast as a player was huge. Winning as a general manager was you're always more bought in when you're in management. It's stressful, way more stressful. The only thing I will say is I've never been more focused on a championship than this one. The Challenge Cup was an unbelievable feeling for a day, but this league has been our focus from September 1, probably from August 1, probably from April 1 last year, and that's just the way we are. And it means a lot more because when you own part of a team, when you get to do it with your buddies, I don't know what happened. That's probably for me. The fans just love me here.
Go and enjoy the party, Todd. Thanks a lot.